Welcome everyone to our analysis stream for the week. We haven't done one of these in a while. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes. Visual audible. Alright, we're good. Welcome to my stream, International Master William Pascal, otherwise known as, or aka, Sladgy. Where is everybody? Astrate, welcome. There is the Astrate. So we've got the following players submitted games for this week's stream. Iobates, Astrate, Mirales, WJ Loof, Mr. Slow, Kakatiri, Arsenal, Muleskinner, Jim, and Sumahair. I've got 10. Count them, 10 games. No room for late joiners. Get out of here. We've got 10 games max. No late joiners. The first game is actually Iobates. And I don't know. Have I seen this one? Don't believe I've seen the hype. Wub. What's up, Mr. Coffee? What's new? Thanks for joining us here. It's so good I feel better not to be sick. Finally, like, completely free of viruses and whatever. We had... Well, March 1st is coming up in 2 weeks, but good to be virus-free. So Astrate, Mr. Coffee, let's see who else is in the chat here. Cocksips and Mr. Slow. Very small crowd. You know, we missed last week's stream because of my match with Sasha. So we haven't done an analysis stream in quite a while. I mean, I was sick the week before that, and last week was the match day. So really, we haven't done an analysis stream for 2 weeks. I am a robot. Uh-oh. Why am I a robot? Oh no, do I have 2 microphones on? No, that's gonna be a problem? Uh-huh. Alright. How about now? Now we have nothing? How are we now? Did that fix it? Alright. Man, I would have thought this would have been the problem last stream. Was I a robot last stream and nobody warned me? I don't understand how the setting gets changed in between streams. You must have a list of pending games to analyze. I do. We have 10 games. No late submissions. We've got just enough time for 10. Move 11's not going to show up as much as I respect him and appreciate him being a VIP. You can't show up like 30 minutes for the stream and be like, 30 minutes into the stream and be like, oh, okay, can I submit a game now? We got too many. We've got 7 here, plus Kakatiri, Arsenal, and Muleskinner. I'm an AI. Interesting. So, we're going to be starting here with Iobates. Buenos noches. Practicing his Spanish. Not as much cause for learning Spanish in the UK as here in Hungary. I mean the United States. Alright, Iobates is playing white against 2153. Buenos noches. So Morales, originally of Spain. You know, sadly, Morales, your namesake passed away. I didn't know him, but it's very major news in the French chess circles. You know, Giles Morales, the Grandmaster, died like last week or 2 weeks ago. and he was only in his 50s. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. He was, I think, very active in the French chess federation or whatever. But I saw that a lot of people were surprised by that. Yeah, pretty scary. So, I never knew him. C4, E5. Yobate's playing white in the English. Knight C3, Knight C6. And a closed Sicilian in honor of Morales, actually. The Morales setup, we'll call it. Closed Sicilian. Yo, it's interesting, Morales. Have you ever played like Bishop B4? Since you like that, you like the variation with Knight C6 and Bishop B4. I'm surprised you don't play this with black. Alright, Knight C6. We have had games with you, right? With the Bishop B4. Like Knight F3, Bishop B4. You have played that, right? So anyway, here, Yubanis plays E3. I would say, okay, it's a normal response in the closed Sicilian. Here it's almost like an anti-Bodler. Like white is trying to prevent or discourage black from playing Bishop C5. The anti-Bodler variation. Now black plays Knight F6. Okay, now we're likely to have a 4 knights. But Yabatis does something original here. Unbelievable. There's only a few games, but okay, knight on GE2. Interesting. Kamsky-esque. Oh my god, I was going to say Kamsky-esque. Kamsky shows up with black. I thought he'd be more likely to play the Sicilian side of this. Kamsky, Ivanchuk Kamsky, 1992. Yeah, so this is a strange move. I mean, there's no question that move is valid against F5. I would think going here would be very logical since black can't play D5. You're guaranteed to get the punch in first. Or obviously if black plays Bishop B4. Clearly against Bishop B4 this is a good move. Maybe this is a good anti-Morales system. Guys, welcome to our analysis stream. Don't forget to gift a sub now to be number 1. We had gift bit donations from Bill, otherwise known as Baisanov, and Jim, of course, Mad Quick Chess. Get on the board. Oh, Uber driver, are you a national master? Uber driver's so secretive. Tell us the truth now. Uber driver, do you hold the Life Master title? Alright. I have a guess as to who you are, but I'm not going to play that game today. Alright. E3. Knight F6. Yeah, so I think here, 4 knights English is standard. You could play like A3. Looks like a reasonable alternative. D4 would transpose to like a exchange. I guess this will be like an exchange French. Korchnoi Kasparov, wow. It's a kind of Nimzo, isn't it? Yeah. Knight on GDE2. Now Bishop E7. It's a passive response from black. So black's options include and are not limited to D5, D6, Bishop B4, probably not so good. You know, although it's still a move. G6, A5. This leaves him kind of obstructed. Black has constipation of the pieces, where everybody's like trying. Well, we have it on our side too. Now we have an interesting situation, boys and girls, because I suspect that black has D5 here. Was this the game from a week ago? Yeah, so this was played a week ago. Actually, you know, almost 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I saw this earlier. I was wondering. Yeah. Now we're talking. No, Uber driver, I think you're getting carried away. I doubt that d5 looks good until this g3 move. But apparently it has been played. Well, I mean, I don't trust this knight b4. I think you should just play it like a normal Sicilian here with knight takes d5. This is interesting, let's say. I don't know if it's good or bad. You know, it's definitely possible. We could just play d3. Okay, g3. Now black has d5 and knight b4, I would say. So now we have to play d3 again. And now black would have to decide how to capture on d5. Or try something provocative like c6. But if I'm white there, I'm just going about my business, I guess. Maybe a3, knight takes d5, bishop g2, castles. You know, the problem for black is like that bishop on e7 deployment isn't... It's not real exciting. You know, you're not getting some really great active gambit play with your bishop on e7. There's no really scary situation here for white. If you try to do some kind of gambit, it's not the same as the Grand Prix attack. So I don't think that's all that great. Bishop g2, d6, and now castles. So it's basically a Lawrence Trent defense with the pawn on f7 instead of f5. But that's important. You know, like, how is your queen gonna... Your queen is gonna go over here? Like, what are you going to do with your queen here? Are you going to play queen e8? What is black going to do to get his queen into the game? I guess your only option would be to move the bishop out manually. Or maybe rook e8 like an old Indian. So he plays rook b8. Okay, that's a reasonable move. You know, here... Do you know anything about this, Superdriver? Here's a Massachusetts chess note for you. The Swedish master Sven Brask has a game here from 1977. There was a chess club in Massachusetts called the Sven Brask Chess Club. Somewhere in south of Boston. Mansfield, I think. There was a chess club. I was never there. Mozart, who's been on my stream numerous times, was probably one of the best chess players to come out of there and became a national master. Do you know anything about Sven Brask? So this is some Swedish player who like immigrated to the United States. Rook b8 is an interesting move. Getting off the long diagonal looks very, very natural. No, so white has two ways to play this. I mean, d3 or d4. Do you want to play for d4 or not? This is more like conservative, let's say. Sven versus Sven. Oh, I'm back now. What about Sven Brask? You played at his club. Yeah, so Sven Brask has a game in the database here. So his club was in Mansfield, Massachusetts, right? The end of the red line. Your neck of the woods. You know something about that area? Well, it's out of Boston. Antonio, d3 and f4 yields Will's famous English smile. Right, right. Not necessary here. We don't have to worry about preventing f5. Braintree. Wait, are you from Braintree? The Butcher of Braintree? Is that what they call you, Uber driver? The Braintree Butcher? Am I getting warmer? Rook b8, d4, c takes d4, e takes d4, bishop g4, h3. I don't know anything about Carl Magnusson. I don't even know where Carl Magnusson was from. He just appeared one day at the Boylston Chess Club. We played like once. Then he disappeared again. You know, he showed up on my stream at one point a couple of years ago. But I think that was like US time. You're just trying to distract now. I don't even know if Carl Magnusson is from Massachusetts. I don't know where he's from. Yeah, it's a funny name. He predicted the future. So, okay, we've got Korchnoi like... I mean, there's probably a lot of Carl Magnussons in Iceland, by the way. Actually, Magnus Carlsen's name feels more Icelandic than Norwegian. h3, bishop h5, g4, bishop g6. So Ubatis just goes for the bishop, and he goes with the Viktor Korchnoi attack. Yeah, Korchnoi versus Stefan Sabo. So what Black's supposed to do in these type of structures, what Stefan Sabo did was, and it wasn't good either, but like h6, bishop f5, and try to park it on h7. Maybe that's better than what happened here. Or just don't bring it out at all. Probably Black should just play like rook e8 and bring this bishop back to f8. What he does here is basically the worst thing. Here, 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 and now you're just trapped like a rat. Now he has to play h6, and now his bishop is stuffed. The worst ever London system bishop, right? Now the only hope is to de-Slavify it with like bishop g8. That happens in the Slav. Crawling out with bishop g8. Now Korchnoi is smiling with white here. Coordination of pawns and pieces by white. White shows understanding of this concept. Now this is horrible. Knight a5, put the knight on the side of the board. Now he has two bad pieces. b3, and then b6. This doesn't do anything. I don't know what to suggest for Black. I think he's strategically lost with the bishop on h7. Bernardo Iglesias. He lives in Braintree? I thought you were from Braintree. b6, bishop b2, c6. I mean, look at these pieces. Bishop e7, bishop h7, knight on a5. And now Ubatis decides to play d5, cd5, knight d5, but at least the knight might be able to rejoin the game with knight c6 or knight b7. You've heard of it, yeah, I bet. The end of the red line. Knight takes d5. By the way, hi to Mickey. He said, hey all. And then queen takes d5. So this is a nice diagonal. You know, objectively, Black should probably trade that bishop off, because that thing looks pretty freaking dangerous. I would suggest this is definitely a good idea, although, you know, tactically it probably doesn't work. Well, take here. You know, the bigger problem isn't this pawn here. I think, you know, the problem is f6. And the problem is that your bishop is dead positionally. So like say this, you know, what would you do with white? Would you A, take on d6 with the queen, take on d6 with the knight, trade queens into a strategically like winning position, play f6? Kind of hard to guess. Computer is really all over the place. All the different moves are like +5 on average. We're not up any material and we're +5 here. Guys, what happened in the... Let's see. Rook A D1, Rook F D8, King H1. Here. Oh, that's just a blunder. Well, yeah, all moves win. Except Black could have played Knight B7. Staying alive like John Travolta. Fianchetto, Knight. I mean, if it gets back to this position, there's still chances for survival. Black hung a piece here. And Yabatas missed it. Queen takes E5, winning the rook on D7. Instead, he just took the pawn on D6. Now the queen is hanging, and he played a silly move. I guess he has to trade queens, right? Queen takes D6. But what do we do? This doesn't look that convincing. After you trade queens. Okay, bishop takes. Not convincing. Because of rook D6, bishop F7, rook D6. You know, I'm not even sure this is that good. Rook D5. Okay, you have rook D5. Rook D5, and if rook D8, rook D1. Good enough. I mean, the main point is that the bishop on H7 is like a piece down. So white is more than a pawn up. Arsenal fan. Anyway, he played this, which allows a discovery, and we win material. Check. Winning the exchange. Game over. Yeah, Black got really outclassed there. Where are you on the list? Where do you want to be? And how much do you have to donate? You can use the Nils system. Arsenal, if you have to go. It was two bad pieces. Look at that. It's not one but two. Look at that. That's the worst minor pieces I've ever seen. You're not third. Actually, it's not clear where he is. Because Arsenal, you know, he submitted incorrectly. Game without proper analysis. Actually, I'm not sure. Maybe I can actually get his game in the... I might be able to actually put his game in a study here. Guys, please support the stream. Copy. He didn't incorrectly submit. Well, he sort of incorrectly. He submitted on... He makes it hard for me by submitting it on whatever that's called. Paste. Go. How come you guys are seeing that window? That's weird. It's actually switching windows. Why is it doing that? Why is it automatically switching windows on me? Shouldn't do that. It should stay on the same window. It's really weird. Never did that before. If I open a different tab, it's going to the tab automatically. What's up with Google? I know it doesn't usually follow me to other tabs when I switch tabs. It should just stay on the other tab. I don't know why it was doing that. I didn't close the first tab. That was funny. I don't know. It hasn't done that in the past. Arsenal, you're a subscriber. How come when you showed up like you weren't a subscriber? Did you subscribe? Or it just didn't show you as a subscriber at first for some reason. That's kind of weird. He was not a subscriber, now he is. Alright, we're going to let Arsenal jump the line so he can get to drinking club in time. So this is game from... You renewed it just now. Why don't I get a message then that you resubbed? Oh, you like have to share it, right, or something like that. Maybe you have to manually like share that you resubscribed. The Richard Smith. Thanks, man, for being a subscriber. All right, let's get it started. This is an over-the-board game by Richard Smith, the Richard Smith. Richard E. Smith. E for E. E is for elephant. E for C5. Knight F3, knight C6, D4, C takes D4, knight takes D4. Okay. FIDE time control. 1 hour 40. Wait, what? Normally it's an hour and 30. I bought a car in the auto mile, Uber driver. New to you. Understand me now. What are you saying? It's 1 hour and 40 minutes? Or just 1 hour? I am confused. Let's quickly like reiterate, what is the time control exactly? Accelerated Dragon. 1 hour for 40 and you get 50 minutes? What? Wait, what's the additional time control? That's, well, I mean, I don't know what the official FIDE time control is, like 90 and 40, and then another half an hour. But like they accept various time controls, you know. So in a sense, there is no like official FIDE time control. There's like a range of time controls. 1 hour 40 minutes for 40 moves, and 50 minutes. That's nice. Yeah, that's longer than the Hungarian League. I like that. That would be great. 1 hour and 40 minutes. But you're getting 30-second increments and 50 minutes to move 40. That's nice. We only get 1 hour and 30 minutes and then 30 minutes. So you've got a bonus half an hour. That's a good time control. That's close to like the old days. Wow. That's excellent. Yeah, the league you play in is 1 hour 30. 15 minutes each for move 36. That's crazy. Once I played in New York Open and they had a 30 move time control, that was very weird. So Arsenal fan plays C4. I think the more tactic-minded players should play. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying, like, if you play against the Accelerated Dragon, I was gonna play last week. I prepared for Zoltan Hajnal, who's kind of an attacker, and I was gonna play the Accelerated Dragon. Attackers don't play C4. Schieberspieler plays C4. He's a technique master. But Hajnal Zoli would play like knight C3. If you play C4, it's better if you're a technical style player. Knight C3 is for attacking players. I play both, so I'm kind of in the middle. I can depends on my mood. Arsenal plays C4, bishop G7, bishop E3, knight F6, knight C3, castles, bishop E2, D6, queen D2. Yeah, I think queen D2 is probably the only other thing Arsenal that you can do is the Carlsen's dad variation. Yeah, yes, Mr. Slow, welcome. Your game is added. I don't know, Arsenal. I don't know. Maybe you should try both and see which one you like better. Carlsen's dad played this against me. I had several games. Kenny Solomon, Carlsen's dad. I beat them both. Somehow with black. But I find knight c2 to be an interesting move. You also might want to wait until the next move to play it. So on bishop d7, I mean, this is probably like the main moment. Wow, why is there no... Oh, because white's usually castled. That's weird. It's really weird that like no one plays knight c2 here. What's wrong with that? I would think that's fine. You've delayed castling, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Yeah, so he went knight g4. I don't like this move for black. Karsha Laszlo lost to me playing that way. I mean, I think the problem is it gives white a very like simple type of play with taking the guy. After this, although black has the bishop pair, it's difficult to use that white square bishop, and it's easy for you to like exchange the dark square bishops. I've shown this type of idea on the stream before. There is a game like Sax Miles where maybe it was a draw. I don't remember, but you know, I think in that game and most games, white is castled kingside. You're going to castle kingside here 98% of the time. But I don't think that knight g4 is a good idea. A lot of people assume, oh, I get the bishop pair, it's good for me. But it's not such a good bishop. White's better after this, slightly. You're trading off your bad bishop. Like, all your pawns are on white squares. It's your bad Marazzi bishop. Yeah, so I think that's kind of lame. So now you played h3. So, as I said, when I played Karsha Laszlo... By the way, Schieberspiel, did he used to play for the team you play for? No, that was different. That was Comlo, I think. Bishop takes g4, knight takes c6, b takes c. Yeah. B takes c, bishop h6. Like, I know this position where white is castled already, and it seems easy for white to play for a slight edge. But it's a little bit weird where you're not castled. Probably doesn't make a big difference here. I think you should do it. It's counterintuitive, but does he get any counterplay against this b2 pawn? Let's see. Can we manufacture some kind of counterplay for black here? Not a lot, but it's okay. So anyway, castles his main line. You know, you might want to leave that bishop on g4. You could actually trap it. One of my friend Dave Vigorito's favorite plans was to play like f4, f5, and like trap said bishop on g4. I'm not sure you want to attack it. It's not bothering anybody, you know. Why are you bullying it? He's actually in a bad position. I mean, I think the bishop has a tendency to get trapped there. So playing h3 is probably not really the best move. You're almost like forcing him to go back to a safer position. So rather than that, yeah, just castle. And hope that you have like good knight versus bad bishop. It's a lot of games here. Fortunately, Luboyevich lost. Oof. Losing with white here is pretty hard to do. But a few people have managed to do it. That's hard to do, man. Lose this position with white. Schieberspieler ain't losing this position with white. Neither am I. Bishop takes g4. So h3 is like a novelty. Here. And now you play knight on dd2. Okay, this is an interesting idea. You're avoiding exchanges. Not a bad move in general, I guess. But I mean, I think the main thing is like you want to play bishop h6 and trade that bishop off. Eliminate his best piece and his bishop pair. So objectively, like, okay, you can't do it. You could do it like that. Now maybe he takes with the bishop. You know, there's a reason. Just a simple position with a slight advantage. You know, a lot of people would say, oh, black's better because he has a bishop. But I mean, this bishop is, it's like useless, you know. White is always a little bit better here. So anyways, knight e2. Black's just fishing. This is a particularly bad move. Like, where is he going now? Well, if black gets d5 in, how's that going to happen? That's going to take some doing. Magic act or something. Yeah, knight e5 is horrible. b3. And he does that. Okay, so he pops back there. Alright. Well, yeah, that's not so simple. I still say get rid of this freaking bishop. Is it right to say keeping as many pieces on the board in the Marazzi? In general, that's true in any position where you have a space advantage, Kakatiri. But I think in this particular type of line, there's the scheme where you play with like knights or knight versus bishop. You want to trade off his bishop pair here. And there's 16 pawns on board, or however many, 14. My math is good. Anyway, a lot of boards getting clogged by pawns. It's not a very open position. So the knights are as good or even better than the bishop. This is the one exchange that's really necessary. We can't do it now, though, because of 93 check. So you'll have to hold off another move. Man, you didn't castle. Arsenal fan, what are you doing with your king in the center? I mean, are you going to go h4? Knight d7. Yeah, that was his point, to get back, Jojo. But now bishop h6 for sure. You know, it's ironic that in a lot of accelerated dragons, this is a bad move. Sometimes black is trying to do that, but I don't know. Okay, I think you can play it either way. I'm concerned about your e4 pawn. I mean, if he puts more pressure, how are you going to protect that here? If he plays knight c5, how are you going to protect it? You don't want to play f3. I think h3 was a bad move, and that's the one thing I'm certain about. So now you went back to d4. Yeah, you don't seem to have a clear plan. I vote for this, and if he goes like knight c5, we're going to take and you know use the queen to protect e4. And hopefully black will do something crazy like f5, weakening his structure at some point. Let's say a5. You might also have this kind of tactic in certain positions where this is hanging. Is there a difference between... Yeah, there is. I mean, if you play bishop d4, your queen doesn't get dragged out to like h6 where it might be out of play. There may be some advantage in going here, but then like what happens if he goes there? You know, I don't know. Bishop h6 guarantees the exchange of bishops. I feel like Arsenal is just going in circles here without a clear plan. If I'm black, I would probably play a5. Set up the dark square blockade. Not sure what queen a5 was about. Finally, you castled. And this is the problem now. You know, ironically, maybe you should play like, let's see. I want to suggest an illegal move. I don't like the fact that you have to play f3. Maybe we can do the Schieberspieler setup. There's this modern movement toward like queen c2, which Schieber tried against me. I know it looks funny and the queen is kind of passive there, but objectively this might be better than playing f3. Do you have knight d5? So what's up here? It just occurred to me, you know, you have the knight d5, queen e2, knight e7 check, king h8, rook takes d2, or bishop takes d2. Whoa. Yeah, he can play queen d8 as well. Obviously. Yeah, it looks like queen d8 is playable. I don't know. I don't really like this. I guess it's not that bad. But we just generally don't really like that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could play like g4 later on and try to attack. It's pretty unusual here in the Marazzi. Your opponent immediately tried to take advantage of it. And now you got this. And then you got bishop g5. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is a tough one for black. I remember I lost the Marazzi against Schieberspieler where I like had to play knight f6 and some months ago, a year ago, whatever. I ended up like dropping my d6 pawn or something. Yeah, I mean this kind of thing we're not real excited about. that ending, I guess. For example, but I mean, obviously black could play f6. His knight is stuck. Yeah, I guess knight h5 is a bad move. This looks really too direct. Knight d5 is solid. Back. Bishop g5 is good. Now he has to take. Okay. And now you're just slightly better. You take with the e-pawn. Yeah, I mean, the pressure here leaves you with a lasting advantage. I'm not sure that black's, like, lost, but, you know, fortunately he doesn't have, like, he hasn't moved his b-pawn, or he would be really dead. But this just looks unpleasant. Yeah, you got him squeezed here. But objectively, it looks like, you know, it's probably not like winning for white, just better. Now here you decided to play bishop e3, but maybe you have prophylactic king move. Can we play king h1, or are we back to knight h5 again? Okay, we can play king h2. And then you were probably nervous about ghosts like that, but it looks like objectively, yeah, I think, no, but I mean, you got it defended. Like, d4 is defended. I would play king h2. But yeah, it's still not easy. The minute that you, like, move your rook off, he's going to have those discoveries. You got to handle this with very, very careful play. So bishop e3 is safe. Here, here, here. There's that annoying square. So, yeah, bishop e5 is annoying. Maybe you could sack the exchange, dude. Ooh. What would Ivanchuk do? I have to say, like, this is extremely tempting to take here. I mean, it's probably a little bit too much. I'd be willing to wager that white has compensation. Yeah. Computer has it. Wow. It's up to around the pawn. But still not easy to play. It's not easy to play. You know, it seems like a little bit of an unnecessary risk. I don't know. I know people who would play it, but I don't think it's quite necessary. Yeah, it might be against certain players or something. I don't know. It looks a little bit unnecessary. So you played very controlled, and now black starts to commit hiri-kiri. Yeah, he's obviously an active player who, you know, probably shouldn't be playing the black side of the Marazzi. Right, black doesn't have a lot of pawn weaknesses, it's true. This is a problem, though. You know, that e7 is enough. White's going to slowly squeeze him. Like, against Karpov, you have very little chance here. You're just going to get tortured. It's hard for... I mean, he needs counterplay with, like, you know, queenside break, but then you lose c6. So e6 is a natural move, but, I mean, it looks too weakening. Yeah, I mean, this looks very, very sketchy. So, this is about, like, the best your position has been. I would say you're virtually winning. Or are you winning directly with f4? Yeah, so e6, like, e6 loses. But he's right teetering on the edge of strategically lost anyway. Well, even the computer really, like, considers e6. I think I would play, like, bishop g7 or something. But it looks horrible. Here, yeah. You have, like, total domination. But I think if you're black here, you got to try to hang tough. You know? That's all you can do, and hope that white makes a mistake. This, he like panicked. I mean, a lot of people do that. It's normal if you're under pressure. Yeah, now you're just clearly winning. So what's he gonna do? Take on d4? He takes here. Oh, so maybe he miscalculated this. What is going on? Oh, he's getting mated on the diagonal. Okay. He miscalculated. He thought he was like better. And Arsenal had seen deeper. He's got queen d5 and bishop takes d4. So objectively, black should probably play like bishop takes d4, right? He has to do this. Well, maybe, yeah. It's horrible. I mean, objectively, black is lost. So after e5, queen e4 is losing. Losing? I don't believe it. What do you mean, he goes to h6 with his king or something? Takes, queen d5 check, king g7, bishop takes d4, king h6. Whoa, he has d5. Oh my god. So if you had played queen f3, then it would have been alright. Oh man, you had to go here. Oh man. So just like that minor difference. Wow. That's brutal. Queen e4 blunder. Black has d5. So let's not panic. I'm not sure you're lost here. You can't trade queens. You have to take with the pawn. And on pawn takes you have to take here. And you're gonna play this position. I'm not convinced you're lost here. Oh, he's got a queen trade. Oh shit. Wow. Man. Yeah, that's a problem. Damn. If we could just avoid the exchange of queens. Maybe you cannot take the pawn on d4. You cannot take the pawn on d4 and try your chances, you know, try your luck with like this or something. But yeah, you're objectively lost. You can't trade queens. If this is the game, you play queen f3 and you pray, you know, to Kaisha or whatever. He just miscalculated. But black didn't see d5, he just took. And now his king is in trouble. So what about king g7? Bishop takes d4 check. I mean, this isn't that easy, right? Like, theoretically, he could even play that. I mean, take, queen takes check. King h6. I'm still playing this out till the cows come home for black. If he can avoid getting mated, he's got chances to draw the heavy piece ending. But now you've got like rook f1 or something devastating. Yeah, that's brutal. So he has to try here. Right. Check. I guess on rook e5, I mean, maybe you have other ways to try to win. You have this move. Objectively, white's probably winning. Rook e4. Of course, Arsenal would have played that. Who wouldn't play rook e4 here? So, oh, b7's hanging with check. Okay, that's pretty clean. You take another one and leave him with a bad structure. Okay, that's... yeah. So he has to try king h6. But it looks like if you trade rooks here, he has serious drawing chances. You could have screwed this up. Computer can say +5, but I mean, maybe like Hikaru won't lose against Aronyan or something. You know, This is not Money in the Bank yet. So that was lucky. He played it pretty badly, missing rook f1. Now it's over. That's really bad. Yeah, he's just dead. You have bishop f6 now. This is good too. I guess mate is mate. Mate in 2. Oof. Right, yeah, kind of +5 for computers. I agree. It wouldn't have been that easy. Overall, not a bad game, but not perfect. You know, you need to improve a little bit. Your accuracy arsenal. I wanted to see, by the way, what happened with the Grand Prix today. What happened? Did they play the second game today? What happened with Aronian? Can somebody tell me the second game? Is it over already? Hikaru won the first game? 2-0? Man, the first game was ridiculous. It was what looked like a drawn rook ending. I can't believe it. Well, I mean, I figured Hikaru was favored in the faster time controls. Aronian really blew it. He had to beat him in classical. But to lose, yeah, second game, wow. Alright. We are up to the next game. Who's next? Guys, please support the stream. Send me a donation if you can, some bits. Join by subscribing. Also, we welcome your subscriptions here to our Twitch channel. It's a little late for the games. We're full up. You can submit a game for next week, GM Orest. If you want to submit a game, it's recommended you do so before the stream, you know, like the day before. Alright, next game. Learn, study, my studies, studies I contribute to. Where did it go? Here. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, February 17th. Yeah, so GMRs, please submit game in advance. We've got 10 games already. Astrobate versus Ignorante. Is that a real word, Mirales? Ignorante. Yeah, don't forget to send it handwritten in descriptive notation by airmail. Oh, it's a real insult. It means like ignoramus or something. So it's like an analphabet or something. That's how they did it in 1972. Submit your game. I remember when I was a kid, Uber driver, there were ads in Chess Life to get lessons by mail. Bruce Pandolfini, Sammy Reshevsky, Alex Dunn. I could have had postal lessons. Alright. Oh, guys, interesting statistic. We all know that Averbach reached 100 years. Rudy Blumenfeld, another one. We all know that Averbach reached 100 years old, but I found out something interesting today. The 1954 Soviet Championship. Go Ukraine. You took lessons with Rudy Giuliani? In solidarity, I'll mention the 1954 Soviet Championship in Ukraine. Maybe not the best moment to talk about that. Averbach won the tournament with +9 in a very, very strong field. But you know the interesting thing about it? It was a 20-player round robin in 1954. Korchnoi played. He was young. Taimanov, Floor. Everybody was there. But you know the interesting thing? Out of the 20 players, Averbach is the only one who's still alive. And he was the winner. Coincidence? No, I think that's Illuminati, right? What are the chances like you won the tournament undefeated +9 and you're still alive in 2022? I mean, that seems awfully strange, right? He's got to be like part of the lizard people. So this is Acerbate versus Ignorante. Aliakin, wow, we never see Acerbate play against the Aliakin. That's funny. I don't remember what you did against me when I've played it against you occasionally. But isn't that crazy? Like 20 players? And Averbach wasn't like the youngest one. And still, he's the last one standing. The winner of the tournament. What, 65 years later? That's pretty nuts, man. It's more than 65 years. It's 66, 67. Is that right? 67 years later. Okay, E5, 95. Shamkovich played. He finished like 18th. Nesbedinov. Whoa, what is going on here? Just a random Soviet championship. Taimanov second, Korchnoi third. Another interesting thing about that Soviet championship in 1954, it's not clear how Averbach got invited. Like a lot of people qualified from like the USSR semifinals, but Averbach wasn't that well known at that point. He wasn't one of the favorites. He was lesser known. And he just dominated. All right. Anyway, Acerbate plays c4 and now knight c3. Interesting. This is kind of a unique variation. Okay, so black breaks the center with d6. Oh, it's interesting. Black can play c5. Oh, crap. That's the problem. Acerbate, you're letting him get into a kind of Nimzovich Sicilian here. Yeah, okay. A4. A4, D6. I lost to Yefim Traeger and Aliakin with the A4, that kind of crap. That's one of my tilt games. Knight C3. So E6 is a weird move. The problem is bishop on C8. I guess black can turn this into a kind of French. He'll have to try to turn it into a French or Sicilian with C5 or D5. So this is best. Yeah, now black has to play D6 or D5. Objectively, knight C6 looks like a bad line. So maybe he should play D6 objectively here to prevent Acerbate's C5 move. No, 4 pawns attack is pretty reasonable. Man, this is almost a transposition to Aximov variation. Wow, is it possible? Take C5? It is. Isn't this a transposition? Shit, that's messed up. You can transpose to the Aximov variation. Yeah, Queen H4 isn't that good there. Oh, he doesn't have it. No, he doesn't have it. That's known. You know, like here, this is not recommended. No, I have Queen A4 check there. No. So that's funny. You could backdoor into Aximov, which is a really dubious line for black. I used to play. No problem at all says what? There is a whole Wikipedia article for it. Interesting, his number is 4, by the way. Oh. Like degrees of separation from Paul Morphy? Six degrees of Kevin Bacon. I played Shamkovich. I played Arnold Denker, Shamkovich. That goes pretty far back. Bisgeyer. So anyways, you know, obviously E6 is dubious. Guys, don't forget to support the stream. I can't do this for free. We need your support, so please subscribe and donate otherwise if possible. Is this E6 good at all? Well, it's the second best move objectively. It's the only other playable move, I guess, in this position. I mean, unless you want to play like Knight C6. I mean, after this. Well, okay, yeah, C5 is a move. D5 doesn't look really correct. So it's either D6, C5, or E6. The problem with this allows C5. Now you have the massive space edge, and Knight C4 looks really, really ugly. You know, you could play that theoretically, right? Like, white can't win a piece. B3, Knight A5, man. And you're coming back. This is like a troll opening. Astrobeat plays... Yeah, someone played E takes D6 here. I mean, that seems really dumb. I see no reason to do that. C5 is definitely... feels superior. And then the guy did Knight C4, wow. Yeah, so obviously this seems more rational. Wow, a game from 2019 of all times. Anyway, Knight C4 was the original. So Astrobeat can win a pawn, but I think, no. Is it good? Let me calculate. Let us count the ways. Bishop takes C4. There's a couple problems here. Bishop takes C4, pawn C4, queen A4 check. If Knight C6, you can play Knight F3, guarding the pawn, and then pick this off. So, I'm not against this. Variation B is queen A4, bishop D7, queen C4, and then I guess bishop C6. That looks a little more unpleasant for white. Although objectively white is probably still almost winning. +2. You have to play Knight F3 to allow your pawn structure to get smashed. Takes. But the amoeba in the center is... White's central control is so devastating. That's just far more important. So... Rook B1. Here, this is fine. The knight's not going anywhere. But should black play like B6 to chip away at the pawn structure? Played F6. Do we attack the head of the pawn chain or the head of the pawn chain? What do you guys think? How about the base of the pawn chain? Seriously, the head of the it's like the two-headed dragon. Nice, the chimera. Astrobate's two-headed dragon attack. Black can't make up his mind like which head of the pawn chain he wants to attack. H4, sure. Nothing wrong with H4. Yeah, against Morales you're dead. Forget about it. I just resigned. Here, F6. Morales, we got E5 conquered. And now Astrobate did his favorite thing. I mean, I really think that maybe you ought to throw in B3 at some point. Because I have a feeling that knight is even worse on A5 than it is on C4. We throw this in, kick it out to A5, and then we'll play, you know, chess with like bishop D3. I guess there that gives black a chance to play the ugliest like check Benoni ever. The ugliest French Nimzovich defense ever. You could take and open it up, maybe. This has to be good, dude. It has to be good. +3. Damn, dude. G takes F. Now you're knight h4. I don't know. This is a really ugly line for black. Asterbate played knight h4 immediately with the cheapo. Maybe black can sack the exchange like in the Tarash. I think he should go for it. What, here? Check. Man, maybe he can even take a walk on the wild side. But seriously, okay. What do we do? King d7? I know this doesn't feel safe. Lou Reed. Because on knight g6, you have this. Asterbate he should kick that knight out at some point. You got to kick the knight out. Why not? Yeah, it's a pity to give the bishop up on c4. But after knight h4, black played c6. He's clearly like walking over here. Check. After he played c6, he doesn't play king d7. Are you kidding me? I mean, isn't that the whole point? To batten down the hatches and run for c7? Why would you play c6? Oh my god. g6 is horrible. Takes. And now he takes here. That's mate in 2. Alright. Not a good game, but very entertaining. Not a bad game for you, but he certainly did not play well. Okay, on to the next game, Morales. I also have games from Kakatiri and Muleskinner that we've got to meld into the list here. But that was certainly entertaining. Morales with white. Thank you, my friends, for being subscribers to the stream and overwhelming us with Bit Hype Train and lots of donations. We've got to thank everyone for not submitting any games that I played. I want to personally thank everyone for that. I hate that when people put in my games against the stream or whatever. All right, so actually Morales played the Scandinavian, played against the Scandinavian here. Money for nothing. All right, thank you, Butcher of Braintree. I just thought of another player from the Boylston who I forgot about, who was like 2000. Uber driver. Another potential Uber driver. D5, E takes D5. It's funny how you forget about some people who are kind of quiet. E takes D5. Queen takes D5. No, not Carl. Like, you see Carl Magnuson? Carl Magnuson probably joined the MIT blackjack team with like, what was his name? Or something. I don't know. I never heard of that guy for 20 years. Queen takes D5. He was stylish. I think he had a members only jacket. I don't remember. Agnes Karajewski, thank you, 100 bits. You guys remember the members only jackets? Like late 80s? Dating myself here. I think my dad had one. Peter Howe. Did you know Peter Howe? Okay, queen takes d5, knight c3. Oh, an interesting question for Antonio. When you were in Boston studying, you never played chess at all? I don't know if Uber driver realized that Antonio is from my went to my alma mater. You did. Wow. Knight c3. Queen e5 check. So this is Morales playing against the Queen e5 check. Once Justin Sarkar played Queen e6 against Alexander Ivanov. This might be better than Queen e5. Oh, you played a simul, really? Against Shabalov, of all people. That's weird. That's a rarity. Because Shabalov didn't live in New England. He must have just been visiting. Mr. Slowhand just gifted a tier 1 sub to Snuggles the Snail. Yeah, that's after my time. Shabalov lives in Pittsburgh. Knight c3, Queen e5 check. Queen e2. Oh no, I can't believe it. This is what I'm going to play from now on. If you promise to play Queen e2, I'll play this all day. I can't believe you would do that. You were nervous because he had control of e5 or something. Agnes Karadzuski says Shab lived in Pittsburgh. Maybe he moved. Maybe he's moved up in the world like the Jeffersons to St. Louis. You can't buy me to live in St. Louis. I can't believe you played Queen e2. Bishop e2, Bishop g4. Well, then you have another solution. Then you play Knight e2. If you're afraid of Bishop e2, Bishop g4. This is still good for white. You know what I do? I troll people with this all the time. This is my favorite move now. Knight e2. Thanks to Agnes Karadzuski for the donation. And of course to Uber Driver, 100 bits each. Appreciate it, guys. Guys and girls. Seriously, this move isn't that stupid. I found like people have no clue what they're doing. Okay, beginners. I'm not talking about like masters, but still. Up to a point. Knight e2 is not that stupid. So Queen e5 check. Queen e5 check, Bishop e2, Bishop g4. But I mean, seriously? Obviously, like, you can play f3 here. I mean, just saying, like, this still is good for white. Like, I'm not gonna buy that this isn't good for white. Like, even f3. Do you have Bishop b5 check there? It just occurred to me. That's illegal. Jeez. Alright, losing my mind here. Yeah, illegal moves are not allowed. So d4. Yeah, this is still good. This is still good. Takes. You're just mobilizing quickly. I mean, you've got to be better here. White is 4-0. Yeah, this is rubbish. Rubbish. Okay. Yo, this is equal. White has like a 0.1 advantage. But it's interesting. We'll see Morales play an equal ending. Because he's usually an attacker. Queen takes e2, bishop takes e2. You know, again, like, you might consider knight takes. Maybe you play like Fianchetto setup or something. There's a game from 2011. %, what? Win rate. Yeah, 4 games. It's a very, very relevant sample size there, Kakatiri. Kovkan. And Yuri Quesada was black. Alright, c6. Well, there goes the g3 idea. Now we played knight f3. Yawn. Knight f6. d4. Morales on how to get nothing with the white pieces. No, I think maybe at this point we just have to like stick with d3. You know, Nefedov would be like... Nefedov's not here, but he would love this position. He loves to play queen e2 against the Petrov. He'd like be licking his chops here, man. This like, oh, we have like 0.001 advantage with white. I think you gotta play, yeah, you gotta play d3. Because first of all, I don't like the look of bishop f5. Like, how are we dealing with that? That's a tempo. What are we gonna do? Like, bishop d1? That's awful. That's what you had to do. Yeah, it's gross. So that's costly. I mean, now it's gonna take us time to get unraveled. There's no way that white is better here. You just don't have any advantage. You have to be a little bit careful. I mean, I can see how black loses. You remain with a strong pawn. He never challenges it. Slowly you, like, you know, get out of this discombobulation and outplay him. h6. What the heck is the next move? Wow. You're gonna play f4? Seriously, I mean, did Asterbate play this game? Or were you, like, taking drugs when you played this game? Okay, this was a fast game. It was 120 plus 1. It was 2 plus 1. So it's just a super fast game. So knight h4 obviously looks horrible. But if you play f4 and you stop g5, maybe it's not so bad. But you didn't do it. I mean, you gotta go f4 here. You can't let him play g5. You should just do it immediately. You hesitated. He probably should play g5. I mean, well, at least consider it. Maybe not. I don't know. I would seriously consider it. And then after this, he can keep you out of e5, maybe. I'd probably pull the trigger on g5. It's not all bad. You know, it might even give him some sort of play. The bird oxy. So yeah, f4. Not going to give you a second chance. Absolutely. But now he has c5 trying to break out. So you're going to play like c5, bishop e3, and he doesn't have a way to hit your bishop on e3. So c5, bishop e3, knight d7, and, or maybe, yeah, he'd rather play knight c6. He does have to watch knight b5, though. But I think bishop e3. You can see how this could go south for black. Potentially. Wow, Morales just ripped him a new one with f5. That is not a fearful move. My instinct was to play knight f3, but it just shows how passive I really am. But I mean, instead of bishop e7 here, he has to put pressure on you. You know, threatening knight c6, castle's queenside. It's my biggest theme, you know, attacking the center, fighting for control of the center is always the most important thing next to king safety. Bishop e7 is just way too routine. And then you just, yeah, see, he wasn't ready for that. Unless it's unsound. I mean, you have tactics here for black with knight d5. Were you bluffing? You're going to sack a piece? Oh, no. He doesn't play knight d5. What are you going to do? Your knight's hanging and he's undermining. And you don't have the queens on the board that you love so much. You can take on d5. But I'm not seeing it. Like, I don't see you sack a piece. And maybe rook takes. Oh, crap. You've got, like, a bunch of pawns. Maybe you can get, like, a bunch of pawns for the piece. I don't know. I mean, it's potentially... Yeah, it's potentially viable. I want to see what the computer says. Yeah, knight d5. Wow, computer just doesn't even care. It's like, screw up my pawn structure. I don't even have to play knight d5. Interesting. The engine is like knight a6, knight bd7. But that's the most interesting variation. Knight d5. Welcome, WJ Loof. Takes, you sack a piece. Yeah, this is critical. Wow. This has to be critical. You get 3 pawns for the piece, maybe. Like this one or this one. But I'd be scared for either side, honestly. I have no idea what's going on there. Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, I would be more cautious and probably have played knight f3. But yeah, you don't have anything. Your move is objectively better. f5 here, he misses it, and he just goes into this, giving up the bishop. Now you're pushing slightly better. WJ, welcome. And now Morales, for no reason whatsoever, played rook f1. It's a strangely hesitant move for such an aggressive player. I think you were concerned about your rook getting awkwardly placed or something? Like if bishop f3, knight bd7, and your rook is like stuck on f5. You know, probably you could work around it with some weird move, but yeah, it's a little weird. So you just pulled it back, then knight on bd7, then bishop f3. Now you're just working him with the 2 bishops and an ending. And that's a nice move because it freezes him on this diagonal. Now the white square bishop is really important. He plays solid move, bishop d2. Obviously bishop f4 is more aggro. I mean, you got to think about g5. Uber driver thinks like a Slav player. Bishop d2 here, right? So that's possible. Focusing on the central squares. Here, e4, d5. If a3, we just chop. And you try to play, you know, like 2 knights against 2 bishops. The blockade. I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously you take with the bishop too. a3, take. Knight here, for example. But I'm not in love with giving up our bishop. So bishop d6 seems reasonable here. Remember, this is a bullet game. Yeah, I mean, this is the position where, like, most people would, like, hoover the board instantaneously. You know, so I'm playing rook e1, rook e1, rook e8. Going into this ending where white is a little better, and Bobby Fischer wins. Yeah, like a model 2 bishops versus knight endgame. No, I don't know. It's probably a draw with perfect play, but hard for black. Objectively. Yeah, d5. d5 seems a little weird, but this is a bullet game. Would be nice to get your king closer to the center. You still never resolved this pawn. I suspect... I'm suspicious of d5. I don't know. Open the game. You got to watch out for checks too. But I guess after d5, c5, you have that. You might not open the game. You might like blockade the game. I mean, he could blockade you. If only he had a6, he'd probably be fine here. But I think this square is critical. So he opens it up. Yeah, that's bad. So this is key position. It looks like black panicked here. He could also play knight e5. Knight e5. Does that drop a pawn? He also has bishop c5 check. I don't see what it does, but let's say knight e5. Going after your bishop. What are you going to do? You've actually got to be careful you don't drop a piece to like takes, check, and drop the d2 bishop. So here you'd have to play like that, and then you're like walking a tightrope on the pins and stuff. It looks like 95 is good. Wow. He's just like clearly winning after 95. Clearly better. Sorry for my notebook computer. Nearly winning. Yeah, so d5 was a blunder. He missed it. Yeah, you could have just vacuumed the pieces or played knight e4, and you're slightly better. You opened the game all right, but he let you dominate with those white square weaknesses. Check at least. Can you drive your king in the corner? Here he just loses a pawn. Or not. No, d2. Okay. Oh, I see. You're dropping a piece here. Say what? You dropped a piece, dude. Wow. Open the game. Why can't you play like that against me? You had to trade rooks first. Rook takes, bishop takes d5. And now check, king h1. You're attacking f7. Yeah, open the game may have not been the right way to open it. But he missed clear win of a piece now. That's like the worst move ever. And you hung it again? Man, bishop c5 check. Bishop e3, rook e8. Hasta la vista. Wow, Morales was lucky. Very lucky. Okay, this is a super fast game. Actually, both players were using like no time. You guys were playing 2-1 and you both have a minute left. Oof, lost the pawn. Don't you have bishop c4 here? You missed bishop c4. I mean, white might be winning here. Like, this looks kind of tough for black. What's he going to do if he loses a queenside pawn? Here, bishop takes a6. I mean, that's a pretty strong deal over there. I would think you have a good chance of getting a touchdown. Yeah, it looks like both of you were playing too fast. Imagine that. He ends up winning it anyway. This is the A pawn. This is the point. Bobby Fischer asked endgame technique. Aronyan. Can he hold this? You know, you'd like to trade the bishops off. I'm curious about this position. Is this a win? With just 3 pawns each? Wow, it's like really close. Stockfish depth 14. Depth 15. It's staying under 1.5, which is probably a draw. Wrong color pawn. Right, this is a huge problem. The wrong color pawn, if we sack the knight for the A pawn, white has the wrong color rook pawn. I think he's probably holding, but just barely. You know, here he lost a little bit of time. Now, I feel like you got a step ahead. Jim, welcome. It feels like you gained an important tempo there. And now he's actually losing his f7 pawn. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, I think here he's already in trouble. So if he had played it a move earlier, bishop b4. Yes, it's the best try. But it may not be the only move. This is very passive. Yeah, this is a big blunder. I mean, he leaves his knight pinned to that pawn on f7, and that bishop c4 is a killer. In fact, like, shouldn't you play bishop c4 right away? No, he's got knight b6. So you needed to play this first to stop knight b6. And now you're threatening bishop c4. And so you missed it. You know, as simplified as this is, I suspect it might be a win. He's going to have to drop f7. So knight f4 is not so hot. I wonder, can he hang on with something like that? I doubt it, right? The computer likes his best. He likes his move, but not knight e6. Knight g6. So there seems to be something here. I don't know, man. This is close. So you take the pawn. Wow, he's drawing you. He's got a fork there. You got to stay on the diagonal. So bishop a2. And then he forks you over here. Wow. And if you go to d5, you cover both forks. He has king d6. And on a6, king d5. And if a7, check and back. And it's a draw. Oh my god. Wow. So you can't take the pawn after knight g6. You gotta like try to keep the knight dominated. Bishop e2. Man, that's an interesting endgame. He might just be hanging on by the skin of his teeth there, but obviously it would require a very, very strong endgame technician. I think an excellent practical endgame. Okay, guys, we got to move on. WJ Loof just joined us. International Master William Pascal weekly analysis stream for my subscribers. WJ Loof is black. He played Falkbeer. Yeah, the king and punting game, I mean, without saying, was lost. I'm sorry I didn't go through it, but I think like most of us are pretty advanced players here. And you know, once Morales like exchanges on e6, he's just like drawing the black king out to the a pawn, and his king position is too good. So thank you, Morales, for being a VIP. e4, e5. But he's not actually Italian, Uber driver. He just lives in Italy. Alright. e4, e5, f4. Right, I brought up the c6 line the other day. So I think this is really fun. And people don't know it as well. Like, theoretically, I think this move is what the computer recommends. But I think, like, very hard for white to play. Harry knew this. Harry played c6. Harry played, like, the Blackburn Gambit or whatever. One of my only blitz games with Harry Lyman. I remember him playing that, or seeing him play that against other people. Of course he would play this. So, like, this type of position takes. If white does, like, queen e5 check, bishop e7. This is a great position, by the way. Queen g7, white loses a queen. Bishop f6, queen g3, and bishop h4. It's a good thing he played f4, right? I like that line. I think really hard for white to play. So e4, WJ Loof plays like the classical Falkbeer, which should be, you know, it should be pretty good. I just think from the practical standpoint, like the c6 might be, this is really dangerous for white. It's just so easy for white to get just destroyed, losing time here. Knight takes c6. Like most beginners do this and lose immediately to queen h4 check, queen e4. Yeah, I like this line. It seems like a really good practical try for black. Thanks, Antonio. So anyway, e4, white played d3. That is correct. Main line. More accurate than any other move. And now, I don't really know this. WJ Liv took on d5. So, I'm no expert, but I recall like the main line is knight f6. Pawn takes pawn. Knight takes e4. No, so this is like the main variation. Computer claiming... Oh, it wants to do something similar. Interesting. Knight f3, c6, so a delayed c6. I didn't know this line. Hungarian variation. Interesting, but I'm not sure. I don't know the queen takes d5. I mean, I guess I've known this is playable. Wonder if this is objectively better. Queen takes d5. We can't trust my engine because my notebook is weak. Yeah, but queen takes d5 is interesting. The computer kind of likes it at depth 13. It definitely feels more correct to play knight f6. But if you think about like the Scandinavian, if you think of it as a Scandinavian, wow. Depth 42 cloud. Do you see that? That's insane. Look how much undiscovered territory there is. Depth 42 cloud, queen e7. Wait, I have to click, right, to get there. Is this a real move? Queen e7? Never played here in the master database? It's probably a million games in lichess. Okay, only 98. So d takes e4. Queen takes e4 check, and Morales trades queens. Yeah, it's a little thankless. I mean, black probably has some compensation here, but that's not really what we're about. We're not about trading queens when playing the Falkbeer. So queen takes d5, knight c3, bishop b4, bishop d2. Yeah, this is a dilemma. Someone played queen e6 here. Yeah, so objectively, wow. Do you have an alternative to that? There is no alternative. Elvest has left the building. I didn't know Elvest played the King's Gambit. That's weird. Yeah, I guess WJ if you just stick with the classics and play knight f6 or the c6 Gambit. This looks a little suspicious. Knight c3, bishop b4, bishop d2. I'm beginning to not like black here. Takes, takes. Can we make this work? Reprintsev lost with white. I always loved that name. Is that a real name? Reprintsev? Alright, I remember him. I lost a tough rook ending against that guy. Bishop takes e3. So now WJ played e3. But I don't think that's going to work here. Aren't we just like dropping our g7? You cannot just drop g7 and get your rook trapped, right? So our options include, but not limited to, knight f6 physically blocking the bishop, or knight e7, dropping g7 but giving us rook g8. Somehow Reprintsev managed to lose here. Bishop takes g7, rook g8, and he played bishop e5. That might be a mistake. Why does white want to play bishop e5, like putting his bishop in a exposed position? Why not like pull it all the way back to c3? That seems kind of weird. I guess he was afraid of this. Is he afraid of this, like g2? I wonder if you could just play queen takes. Huh. I guess that's the lesser of the evils. Let's look at knight f6. Elvest 1. It just looks like black's position is empty without the dark square bishop. We're really, really sorry about that diagonal. 900 point difference. Oh, in your play? Because you haven't been playing? You mean in your tactics puzzles, your 900 point difference? I'm not surprised. You know, people who are like amateur beginners, they lose strength very quickly. I could not play a game of chess for a year and I still wouldn't lose that much. I wouldn't be that rusty. So knight f6 is the best try, but I don't like this position. Yeah, objectively you have to go back to one of those other lines. But let's make the best out of it. Bishop b4, bishop d2, take, knight f6. I guess. Bishop f6, pawn f6. D takes e4, pre-Dorozhny. Putin-Chef. Some similar name. This is a disaster. At least we're not down any material, though. I mean, maybe black can hold on. Black did draw one game in 1992. It's been a while. f5. It's been a while. But he's not down any material. I mean, maybe black can play actively with the king, sticking on f6 and defend that weak pawn on f5. The other option is not playing f5. Yeah, the computer doesn't think this is that bad. It's interesting. You know, so maybe objectively, like, taking on f6 is a mistake. It's really tempting and easy to play, but the bishop is so strong. Does white really want to give that bishop up just to double the pawns? Man, I don't know. It's a tough call. It's not that clear. So, WJ Leaf just blundered here. I mean, e3, he should be lost. Bishop g7. There's no apparent, like, counterplay. It doesn't look like you have anything. You don't have anything here. You don't have anything here. It's hard to identify weak points in white's position. The f4 pawn, maybe, but you're going to just have to play rook odds. And then when you win, down an entire rook, you're going to show your friends and say, hey, look, I played this guy rook odds. It made him look like a beginner. You hit 2360 in tactics. That's really solid. I guess it's a matter of applying it when you're not like looking for a tactic in a specific position. Now here you should castle queenside. Complete development. I guess 97 is reasonable too. This feels strange to move the same piece twice. And I don't like queen e2. So white here like steps on his own feet. I mean, I find it very hard to see a problem with this move. After bishop e2, we're castling kingside. We're blockading, at least temporarily, this pawn on e3. White literally chose a very bad path there. I like this here. You should probably just castle first. I think this ironically isn't very good. Bishop g4. He meets the pin very easily with bishop e2, and I think you're dead now. He's going to just castle kingside. But he missed it. He played this. This is terrible. Now the last thing he wants to do is like castle queenside with that pawn hanging on a2. He puts himself in a pin. You're out of there. Now you're threatening knight d4. Not really, because of bishop on h8. Okay. You can play maybe f6 and trap his bishop or sort of semi-trap it on h8 now, you know, and you're outstripping him in development. Suddenly you have a chance. Wow. Yeah, I mean, White's... The worst thing White can do, of course, is play like castle's queenside here. He didn't go that far. But he was really, really, like... He had no sense of danger. I mean, queen takes e3, this extremely dangerous move. To open up this file with your queen and your king on it? Man. You also have knight e7, knight f5, knight h6, knight f5 with tempo. But I guess you're still objectively probably lost. Going for c2 here. You know, so here's an example of a position where White's probably winning, but he has to be very, very careful. Maybe king d2. Like, seriously. Because, like, it's very hard for you to attack dark squares. And he has, like, bishop back there. And maybe you should have considered f6. Just blotting his bishop out instead. But again, you have to be quick. Because if he plays bishop e2 and castles kingside, he's out. Yeah, I don't know objectively what the best move is. The engine's like knight e7 and you're lost. But there's still practical chances here. Queen d2 backing up and dropping f3. Bishop takes f3. Pawn f3. And then a nice move. You don't sucker take this pawn here, although you could. He has bishop... Actually, this is probably a good move. He takes on b4. You have h1, but he gets away. I don't know. Here's an interesting position. It looks like you have a chance. But the question is, do you check him on e8, or do you play queen takes f3? Queen f3, queen b4. If rook check, he's playing king d2. Well, it looks like you have something. I'm not convinced, though. You can't take the rook because of bishop h3 check. Oh man, this is a mess. I don't know. Queen e3 check, king c3. And then you have knight e7, threatening knight d5 check. But I mean, he walks away. Probably like black is in trouble here. Yeah. Scary position, but I mean, it looks like objectively like black is still lost. So you played this check. And then king f2. After king f2, you still have some practical chances. But remember, this diagonal is controlled. You might play like queen h5 or something, trying to get in here. Even though you're blown out in the opening, this guy is screwing it up. But here, I don't know. This position, you're still lost. It's a tough call. Rook e8 check, king f2, king d1. Maybe king d1 is just losing the game, huh? He basically loses the game with that move. After king f2, it's just, you can't attack him. His bishop just keeps the dark squares guarded. So that's a lucky mistake. Check, and then takes. And now black wins on time. But I don't think he can defend. I mean, objectively, I guess he should just, like... Are you mating it? Are you getting mated with white here? Queen takes check, king d2. Yeah. It's mate immediately. No, it's not. No, it's not. But you're just taking his rook. Yeah, he's lost. That's not good. A rook down. And then threatening mate. Yeah, that was a lucky escape, WJ Loof. Keep working on it. We got to move along, guys. Not a lot of time. Mr. Slowhand, let's do Kakatiri. Mr. Sohan, Kakatiri. Mr. Sohan was here earlier. Kakatiri was here earlier. I don't know who to do first. Alright, we'll do Mr. Slow. E4, then Kakatiri next. C5. Mr. Slow is black. Sicilian. Sveshnikov? Do I hear a Sveshnikov? I tried the Sveshnikov against Uber Driver. Very rare the other day. Mr. Slow has played Sveshnikov against me. Yeah, so it's Bishop G5, but Knight D5 is the popular move now. Yeah, check out the C6 variation. People won't have a clue what they're doing there. Very easy to win in a few moves, although that's not our goal. I think it's not a bad way to pick up some rating points and maybe get a chance to play stronger players. Bishop G5, A6 takes, Knight A3, B5. You know, so for my money, I don't know, you know, objectively. What was I gonna say? Here. Bishop G5, A6. So it's funny how infrequent Bishop takes F6 is. Almost everyone plays Knight A3. Right. So this is inaccurate. Right, you don't... So what's the point? Bishop takes F6. G takes F, Knight A3. Yeah, right, you don't have to play B5. Technically, you only have to play B5 if you want to. So this is interesting. So you have the alternative of F5 in this position. I never really stopped to think about it since I never played a Sveshnikov since I was like unrated. But wow, so that's actually interesting. Mr. Slow could play F5 directly. How do I make that board disappear? Okay. Knight C4. I am not familiar with this at all. F takes E4. Wow. Lord Cranborne. He was a player on ICC. Raul Canal, that's old games. Nothing. Oh, there's a game from 2020. There's a couple new games. They might be correspondence. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand here, Mr. Slow. Why is F5 better? The engine seems to think it's better. Well, I mean, okay. Technically speaking, B5 weakens your queen side. And there's a lot of issues later on, you know, with C4 and A4 and what have you. I guess we have to stop and say, okay, if black doesn't have to play B5 in the Sveshnikov, I mean, maybe we're not creating as many weaknesses in our position. I don't know. I would look at this seriously and really think about it. It appears it's Knight C4. F takes E4. There's a narrow line. It's amazing. For what is a relatively important position, there's only 14 games here. And only a handful of them were over the board. Juliana Turbe, this is a Hungarian girl or woman. 2019. B5 takes out the knight on A3 for the time being. Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. For the time being the active. Dude, I mean, years ago people thought the Sveshnikov was bad because it gives up control of D5. I think we have to do a pretty deep analysis here. But let's just keep going in this line. I mean, white has a problem now. Check this out. Everyone played knight takes E4 out of 14 games, 14 knight takes E4. Let's check out lichess. Knight takes c4, massively, overwhelmingly the number one move. And it's probably not even best. That's so interesting. Queen h5. You know these guys are using the engine. All 15 players who played Queen h5 on lichess were probably engine cheaters. No one would actually know this, almost. David Grigo. Man, rest in peace, David Grigo. He used to play the Sveshnikov. Rook g8. Anyway, over the board games, no games. This is interesting. I mean, there's totally unexplored variations there. Okay, but you know, you want to keep yourself in the book. There's nothing wrong with b5. Obviously, it transposes back to main line. Knight d5, and we played this before. I played g4 against you. I played g4 against. I played g4 against Blobix. So g3 is a move, e takes f5 is a move, bishop d3 is a move, and c3 is a move. Is there anything else? Bishop takes b5. Okay, yeah. I mean, Adorian analyzed these like sacks. Shirov, Kasparov. This has been analyzed to a draw. Now, what happened? Mr. Slow's opponent. Mr. Slow's opponent is like 1800. He played the horror move, f3. So, when you have a position where you no longer have a certain bishop, right? Like this example, white has traded off their dark square bishop on f6. You don't start putting your pawns on the white squares. This is a horror show. f3. He doesn't have the dark square bishop, so he's going to make the dark squares weaker in this position. He's like, no, I want to protect my e4 pawn. First of all, there are tactics, like if black takes here too early. g3, one of the main lines is like g3 takes, bishop g2, right? Because f5 is too dangerous. You will allow queen h5 check. So g3, you know, g4 like I played is bad. This is just like a bluff. Velimirovich bluff. c3 is a logical move. I think that's good. Notice, with the white square bishop, we're putting our pawns on dark squares. b2, c3, g3. This guy's move is horrible. So you're actually weakening the dark squares when you don't have a dark square bishop. Very bad. And now Mr. So took. You know, I had a number of games today I was analyzing with my students. It seems like oftentimes people are releasing the tension too early. So if we take on e4, who's that benefiting? You can take check and take with check, right? So he's basically losing a pawn here. Yeah, he's like nearly lost. White should probably like not recapture. I would recommend something along the lines of like queen d2 or something. I don't know. You know, interestingly, is that a move? Queen d2? Trying to castle queenside? That's crazy. You'll get skewered by h5, bishop h6. Yeah, also putting the queen on a dark square. So this is just almost like losing the game in one move. What about like c4? Nakamura Gelfand. I mean, I have to say like c4 is kind of counterintuitive too. Same thing, like you're putting more pawns on the white squares. It looks like you're suicidally like weakening the dark squares in white's position. Black has a dark square bishop. Even though it's blocked in now, it has tremendous like long-term potential. But queen a5 check may not really do any damage. Volokitin versus Elianov. But I guess black is at least comfortable here. b4 is the main move. And this is Nakamura Gelfand. It's weird that Gelfand plays the Sveshnikov. Knight c2, f takes e4, and then g3. I guess playable. Well, Naka actually lost that game. So anyway, I like c3. I like g3 for white. I've played both his moves. I played e takes f5. I probably played that against Mr. Slow. Simply releasing the tension. Something like pawn takes pawn. I know this is like the main line, but I guess I always avoided it personally. It feels like my bishop is restricted there. I never liked that. Anyway, f3 is terrible. Take, take, check. And then you were threatening to take with check. So instead, white goes for the run. The end run. But this is not the NFL. So how are you going to get him on d3? That's the question. He went to c3. I expected him to go here. I mean, after all said and done, I think he naturally should be safer on the white squares. I mean, ultimately, it would be funny if you had some kind of crazy mate, like with a queen sack or something. You've got f5. This point is almost impossible to defend. Maybe queen f3. This is a very bad situation for white. Lasker plays this against Schlechter. No, a lot of people refer to it as the Lasker Pelican Uber driver. But really, I mean, the theory didn't get deeply analyzed till later. So king c3. And now, for our next trick. I mean, black probably has a lot of winning moves. If I were Mr. Slow, he obviously is looking at this fork here. My first consideration would be to grab the pawn on e4. Because you're threatening b4 check, winning a piece. You almost have a mating net. And this check, you know, may not be that bad because we have king e7, knight d5 check, and then like king d8. I mean, maybe white can survive, though. Maybe he can escape, like, back to b2 or something. Then we end up with our king in a bad position. Imagine if white plays, like, b4 and lives to tell the story. No, Mr. Slow is being practical here. You know, the king will be safe on castle kingside position. But I suspect that black might have a better move. This is like how you teach calculation. Now I've got the assistant here, the magic oracle. But I mean, naturally we should look at the forcing move first. b4 check, he has to take, we take, he takes, and then the question is, how much do we have here? Queen e4 check, he can go back, he can play c4, you know, rook b8 check, not clear. King c3, queen e3 check, interpose. You know, so maybe Mr. Slow got this far, but after like 7 moves of analysis, you're sitting there in a blitz game and not sure if you can finish him off or not. I think it would be normal to analyze this far and then be like, I don't know, is this good enough? And the computer says it's like +10. I mean, I guess some people can trust their intuition, but you know, it's hard to calculate. It's hard to calculate this far in a blitz game and be accurate about it. So I think Mr. Slow just made a practical decision here. He may not play the best move, but his king is definitely safe. Now white should think about his king safety. I think this escaping back to b2 is realistically like his only chance. Long term, I still don't think his king will be safe. But for my money, I mean, obviously a5 looks dangerous if b4. You know, maybe b3, but you still get sucked out with b4. So it looks like a problem. Basically, you can't stop this. I guess the only thing that white could do would be to like play bishop d3, control this, keep that under defended conditions, so there's no more queen takes e4 check, and take his chances. Probably Mr. Slow still has very strong play here, you know, with like b4. Your intuition always prevails. The king walk around the center. You know what, Mickey? I've had some games where that wasn't the case. You know, I've seen some really strange games where people escape. I know that most oftentimes it is, but yeah, there are cases where it gets away. Bishop e6. So this was game. Yeah, bishop d3 is best. Bishop e6, threatening to take on d5. That's brutal. I'm not sure there's a defense to that. You can play g3 and buy some time. This queen can simply pop back to d8, though, and then attack from the other side. Actually, queen a5 is devastating. Queen a5 will force b4. That would be like white's only move. So maybe g3 for white, followed by b4. But still you'll have a5. That's game. Oh, he sacked his queen. Very nice. Very nice. This is the point. Very nice. I mean, Mr. Slow is probably winning, but after queen a5, I guess, you know, again, you get the b4 and he lives a few more moves. I still think that black's winning here. Probably a5 is decisive. You'll get in there eventually. But this is nice. He sacks his queen. It's mate in one. Yeah, nice job, mate. So, you know, that's kind of a elegant win. Guys, we got to move along. I said I would do the Cockatieri game next. Cockatry. Cockatieries? It's Cocoa. Cocoa Puffs. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Cockatieri. Cockatieri. Alex, my goal is to become FM Cockatieri. By 2023, get on. You better get on the ball. Alright, we've got a game from him. Feminine Master. Cockatieri OTB game. Thanks, I'm playing. Okay, blah blah blah. This was the game. Can I? You got a lichess study, actually, right? Let's just go to the study. Copy. Is it a footballer? Kaka. Game 2 versus Paul Arnold. Richard Smith. I can't wait till the Cockatieri Richard Smith battle. We'll have an all UK stream game. Or Richard Smith versus Nefyadov. The Slaggy UK chapter. Slaggy fans UK. You're black? Alright, yeah, I couldn't guess. It's Caro-Kann, though. Alright, so e4, c6, blah, blah, blah. Bishop f5. I feel I trust bishop f5 a bit more than c5. But h4 is the sharpest move. Yeah. So, I don't know if you watched my stream lately. You probably haven't. I know you haven't been playing that much. I started experimenting with a6. I think this is good in the respect that it's like not as analyzed. Prior to that, I find these variations with h6 and h5. h5 is like the main line, and h6 has picked up a lot of popularity. But I had some bad games with this. Like I got blown off the board. Where white just has, you know, this sort of crazy. They would even do crazy stuff like f4. I don't know. You know, I think it's very hard to play. That's a solid approach. h5 is the main line. But yeah, now he's supposed to play c4 or bishop d3. So those are the two moves that are super scary. You played queen b6? Okay, maybe I played queen b6 once years ago against Paul McIntyre. But that was am I thinking of a different line? Yeah, I was thinking of a different line. I played it against knight c3. No, my bad. Yeah, no, here it's like well known. Different position. Yeah, I don't know. Queen b6. Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Oh, so knight c3 transposes. It just transposes. Oh, come on. Eric Johnson variation. It's popular with Erics. 2,200 players named Eric. Oh, I might know one of those guys. That's decent. What's up, Move 11? So this actually transposes back into that line. Yeah, once I played that and got lucky and won, I think, but... Move 11 gifting tier 1 to the community. Lady in Black 90, haven't seen her in a while. And, thank you, Move 11. National Masters named Eric. Who's your favorite? I have my favorite. Old friend of mine. Alright. But, we always got along. Bishop f5, h4, h5, bishop e2. So this is materialistic. That feels wrong. Yeah. Just in time for the h4 variation. Alright, let's see here. Well, this move is much less scary than bishop d3 and c4. Like, those moves are definitely scary. I know there's a lot of gambits where you, like, sacrifice your pawn on h5. So I would think, like, that would be my first consideration. We'll do another one of those. So e6, right? And you just sack the pawn. This is happening in a GF Caro line. It's happening, one of the main GF Caro lines. It's happening in the knight e2 variation. And now again. Yeah, I mean, like, clearly you could play g6 if you want to. But, oh, Uber Driver's talking about rook h4. I like the way the Kakatiri, like, could play c5 immediately. So this is interesting. If bishop takes h5, we just go c5 immediately. Kuprechik versus Gossel. I don't know what happened to Einar Gossel. I played a lot of games with him on World Chess Network. What happens to these, like, middle-aged grandmasters who, like, disappear? Yeah, I guess it doesn't look too good if you take on h4. I don't like allowing bishop takes f5 here. Rook takes, queen takes, bishop takes f5. That seems kind of weird. I guess white has 0 development. 0 development. They sort of die. Well, I'm not that old. I'm talking about, like, the middle-aged ones. So e6. Wow, someone even played c5. A couple games went c5. Diego Adla. That's an interesting try. You could try that. I like it. It's very dynamic. But e6 is standard. So he doesn't grab the pawn. You know, it kind of, like, makes you think, like, well, why play bishop e2 if you're not going to take the pawn? In that case, you might as well just played, like, knight f3 in the first place. Like, what's the difference? This has to be an important move, right? That's the proper way to go after the pawn. But again, it's going to be, like, standard stuff. e6, knight g3, bishop g6, bishop e2, c5. Sacrifice the pawn. And that's, like, fine. Fine with me. Bishop takes h5. Seitlin just passed away. And Shandor Kushtar, my old friend, American citizen. He bailed from here. We switched places. I came here and Kushtar Shandor moved to like freaking Wyoming or something. He's hanging out with Liz Cheney. I don't know. Alright. So that's a possibility. Marazzi was from Hungary. Damn, Uber driver. You're educating us now. Bishop e2. e6. Yeah, knight f3 is weird. Yeah. Well, it's not just h4 is weird. I mean, you played h5. So you both played h4, h5. c5. c3. Horvath Dominic. Hungarian from Austria. Knight c6. Very logical play so far. Bishop e3. So Domi played knight h6. You know, I know there are games where like white will hack that knight sometimes. That's definitely a possibility, but I mean still, I don't know. Some 2200 played a3. Francesco Rinaldi. Yeah, I mean playing the Caro-Kann with black against 2200s is a bad idea. Bishop e3, queen b6. Yeah, this looks good. Can he try taking on c5, maybe? There you just take on b2 and destroy his pawn structure. Man, so he played b3. It's a travesty. b3 is really bad. Oh, man. You know, I'm actually wondering if white could play c4 or something crazy. You would think giving up g4 square isn't great for white here. Not that easy to take advantage of it, though. I mean, you could play like bishop g4. I want to see what the oracle says. Queen c1. That's better than b3. Anything's better than b3. Basically, that's the only thing you need to know. If you're white in the London or whatever, when black plays queen b6, like the last thing you ever want to do, this is absolutely always the last resort. You do not weaken your pawn chain. Better to like lose the pawn outright. I mean, what about like Kuprejcik? Would he play like queen b3 here? Queen b3, queen d2. I mean, there's a million possibilities, but not b3. This is the worst move ever. So now it's like collapse of the pawn chain on that dark square complex very, very, very quickly if white isn't careful. But I don't know. My only concern is that like when you take here, he doesn't take with the pawn. He's going to take with the knight. But it looks like you have bishop c5. But maybe not. See, this is what bothers me. Because now he's threatening discoveries on your queen. I mean, I guess you can play this and you're okay. But I'm not sure you're better. They're like bishop takes, bishop c5. It's probably like equal. I'm not sure that black is better here. Computer claims slightly. But at least white survives. But this is really bad. I mean, that's oof. You know, what are you going to do about knight b4 now? Yeah, this is killer. Big problem. So now white is faced with like losing the exchange. Yeah, I mean, knight takes d4. What did you have in mind here? Do you even have an option? I mean, you could play like bishop c5, but he takes on f5, and you have to recapture. What about this? We shouldn't dismiss this out of hand. Because he never really gets time to take on d5. Take, and then b4. And the d5 pawn is hanging. Wow, someone suggested knight bishop takes b1. That was like my first tournament Caro-Kann game. You can actually do bishop takes b1. Oh my god. What a nightmare. Queen takes. Or maybe rook takes. Yeah, it's not 100% convincing. I mean, black's probably better. But this is terrible, right? Okay, takes. He misses it. He allows that. And it looks like he's lost. So you've got like knight a3, queen a5. He has a check, but you can just move your king. Is that what happened? Yeah. Yeah. Check. You just play king d8. What are you going to do on king d8, buddy? He has bishop c1, no. He's like losing a piece here. He has knight g5. You don't have to pull your knight back. I guess it just won a piece, though. So we can't criticize Kakatiri for that. Yeah, this is simpler. He still just wins a piece. Yeah. I mean, yeah, better, I guess. Why be fancy? Yeah, so that's pretty clean. Now it's just... You should win this position 100% of the time. You're a clear piece up. But I think a lot of people like tend to let their guard down once they get a winning position. This is actually not a bad move. That's what I would have played. Yeah, very clean. Yeah, you played virtually a perfect game. I'm not sure about rook c8. I mean, you need to think about your king position. Castling queenside looks... Well, it's just... It looks dangerous. So the only trick here is king position. Maybe you should play bishop g4 at some point. But this is a decent move. And now you castled. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That's the sensible thing to do. You can always defend h5 with like bishop g6. He's trying to... He's going to try to like attack h5. This is strong. Here. Bishop f3. Yeah, and then just stick the knight on f5. I wouldn't play a6. You're up a clear piece. Don't screw around. Just play this. I guess a6 is good too, though. Anyway, alright, good game. He tried to get me to trap your queen. Yeah, of course. Next chapter? What's the next chapter? Was there more? That was it, right? Yeah, I mean, he's just losing a piece. He just lost a piece with no compensation. Okay, guys, gotta move on. That was a clean game. Alright, next game. Learn, study. Guys, I got about half an hour left in the stream. So we're going to get these games in. My studies I contribute to. Where did it go? Here it is. Thanks for your support. Uber driver with a 100-bit donation this evening. Jim is up. Thanks to Mr. Slow. And Move 11 for donating a gift sub. So I'm sorry, I have to scroll. I know this makes everyone seasick, but I have to scroll up sometimes to see where we are. We've got Jim, Sumaher, and we did Richard already. So, Jim, Sumaher, and Mule Skinner. Alright. Jim is white. It's a blitz game, mind you. This guy's been playing bullet almost 24/7, but 3-minute chess. E takes d5, knight f6, d4. d4 is a good line. There's so many ways to deal with this. Knight takes d5, and now Jim just plays a random move here. This is not critical. So objectively, there's two moves here for white. c4 followed by knight f3, or c5. Yeah, c4, knight f3, or you can play knight f3 right away. That's it. Okay, bishop e2 is like playable, but black has bishop f5 there. So you either want to do this or you want to play c4. Your choice. You allow the keel variation. Not a problem. Anyway, Jim just plays knight c3. So this is like, you're just transposing to one of those Alekhine offbeat sidelines. This is not dangerous for black. Yeah, but c6 is pretty gross, honestly. Yeah, knight b4 has a name, of course, man. I did a video series. I think I included that long ago in my Scandinavian. This is the keel variation. Of course it has a name. I won a lot of blitz games with this move 11. There's a lot of traps. Yeah, that's fun to play that. It's not sound, but it's fun. It's a good way to beat noobs. Knight c3. Yeah, I don't like c6. I mean, it's like a Grunfeld, right? Like, he should be aiming for c5. So I'm happy to see this c6. Now you're slightly better. Jim, you didn't play this move. We played that? I can't believe you're playing knight takes d5, man. You should be like drawn and quartered for this move. Or you gotta come to more of my streams and remember real chess. This is Jim going to bullet mode. You know this move is like categorically incorrect. You're improving black's position by, bringing his pawn into the center. Black is now fully equal. I'm so happy to see that when I'm black here. You only have like one good move in this position. I mean, knight f3. Literally, alternatives. Okay, like g3 maybe. You could play bishop c4. You know, it'd be a funny move here. Knight e4. You just want to be, like a wise guy. Seriously. You could transpose to the Caro-Kann, where the guy's knight is like on d5. I like this move better than knight takes d5 though. It's like the Nadanian variation and the Danian variation in the Grunfeld with like knight a4. Go here. And then later on you could kick his knight out with like c4. If you want to be weird, I mean, I'd much rather play that move than knight takes knight. So the game is knight takes knight, Garone, c takes, knight f3, right? So you're playing an exchange Caro-Kann here. Your only good plans are, the standard sort of c3, bishop d3, and I think knight f3 is, allowing the pin with bishop g4. Not the greatest. If I'm black, I'd probably play knight c6 a lot here. Now this is interesting. Maybe objectively, we should consider going for it. Like, go for his bishop right away. Here, 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 and then here. If you really wanna play, maybe you go for it with something like that. Most people will take, though, including me. But I think here, like, white has a tiny pull after queen f3. Bishop e2 is rather passive. I had a lot of games with Alice, though, in this. This is just like you're playing the black side of the Queen's Gambit, kind of passive black side of Queen's Gambit exchange variation. So, if bishop f4, probably better square. Yeah, you've really drifted. This is not great. Now bishop f4 would be a good exchange to equalize. You're trying to equalize now. Castles, h3, bishop h5. Now you play g4. Alright. Now we got something interesting, huh? You're castling queenside. You're doing the Jabava attack. Oh man. He should have seen it coming. But I don't think that this is necessarily bad for black. He better be prepared to park his bishop on e4 very quickly. So what do? Knight e5? So you have h4 or knight e5. I guess knight e5 he just chops it. So this is objectively best. Should he play this? He plays h5. Resolute. But Jim's got something with his coffee house attack now. This isn't what black envisioned. You know, objectively going back to h3, if you're playing me and I know what you're doing here, I'm just gonna take. Another interesting move for black is bishop f5. I guess there you would play g4 anyway, but this is probably a better version. You know, he'd rather have his bishop like here. Objectively. I mean, think about it. Like, what good does his bishop do? He's like pinning your knight to your bishop on e2. There's no real pin here. He might as well just go to f5. The bishop is going directly to this diagonal. And try to organize some kind of counterplay. This is like the worst of the three options. h5. Let's see what the oracle says. Oh, it's like a scale. It's oh, it's so close. Oh my god. Oh my god. I argue that bishop h5 is the worst of the three options. The computer actually likes it. Why? What am I missing here? Bishop e4. It doesn't buy it. Wow. So he did it to himself? Wow, bishop e4. You can go nuts with h5, right? For a human, it's scary. You're going to castle queenside, but you're going to come under a withering attack on the c-file too. Maybe you shouldn't castle at all. Objectively, maybe you should just like leave your king on f1. I'm not sure it's a good idea to castle queenside. It's just too fast. His counterplay. Yeah, I don't know. But I think it's harder to play. It would have been simpler to take. Jim probably would take with a g-pawn. He'd pretend he's like Blackburn. Admit that you would take with a g-pawn, Jim. Although objectively, it's better to take like bishop takes. G takes. Pretend it's a b3 opening. Bishop h5, g4, bishop g6, h4. So black weakens his king side, and now you have play. I thought this actually looks kind of annoying for him. You cover e4. And now h5's hanging. So I guess he takes, but you can play h5 real fast. Then I guess bishop f5. But I'm not sure what's going on here. I mean, you're starting to get some pretty serious play. This, I'm not certain. Because there's this pin here now. Maybe black has some idea. Queen f6 is dangerous, though. Rook g1. Absolutely. Like, we don't care about losing the h-pawn. Here. And now bishop h6. Oof. He didn't see that coming. Emil the farmer is definitely sacrificing the exchange here. I mean, you don't have to talk him into it. You know, this is an automatic move. I mean, there's no open lines for the rooks here. I think that black should definitely be willing to sack the exchange. Bishop takes, and I don't know which way to recapture, but objectively, like, not that easy for you. You know, like, your king will never be 100% safe, and there's no open files. You're gonna have to caveman. Go caveman real fast on the king side. But I don't know, you know. This king isn't safe either. If you try to castle queenside, maybe black will have pretty quick play, I would imagine. So I think sacking the exchange there is a good practical decision. He plays bishop g6. Phew. You had bishop g7, right? Bishop g7, king g7, h5 as well. Though it's objectively not clear if this is better for white or just like unclear. So h5 may be even better. Better than bringing his king up and allowing like rook h8. Wow. So he's just toast. He had to sack the exchange. He can't possibly defend this. He's just busted like instantly. Wow. This is just falling. He's lost just like that. Like snap your fingers. It's crazy. So he literally has to sack the exchange. G6. And I think he could put up some resistance here. Computer wants to take with the king. I wasn't sure. Maybe that does make more sense. You know, so anyway, I guess I didn't like queen h6 check. Huh. You can walk out. I mean, the key is that black structure is good. You have Isolani, and open files. So I think in a practical game, you know, below like 2,500, maybe things are not so simple for white to win this. Although if you could trade queens, that would probably leave you with good chances to win the ending with no risk. Yeah, so he's lost here. Nice, nice. Bullet style blitz game. That was really sleazy. Uber driver must be happy seeing this. And his king just doesn't have any safety. You might as well start playing the London system, man. London system. Can you castle? Right. I don't know, you were watching, this was our sleaziest game of the day. It reminds me of my match with that Russian guy. Yeah, black's just busted. King safety issue. As long as you don't trade queens. Now you have like 95 and bishop h5, right? You could play that because of this in all variations. You did knight g5 more direct. Though objectively, like, this cuts him off. If you go there, he was threatening bishop f4 check, wasn't he? Does he have that? Actually, in the game, does he have this? Check. King b1. Bishop takes g5. Did you screw up here? Is your attack still enough? Maybe he can evacuate? Because the threat of bishop h5 is still so strong? Like, rook takes g5 and there's no defense? It's pretty funny. I mean, you've got this and you've got bishop h5. And even though, you know, well, you're up 2 pawns as well. I mean, objectively, you're just winning materially. But yeah, he should have tried bishop f4. I think this is lights out, though, isn't it? Because now he does... Oh, he would just take with the bishop. Okay, he can take with the bishop. No, it's still not enough. Like, bishop takes bishop h5. He has no defense to that. Yeah, this is killing. It's more accurate. Here, here. And that doesn't help. Acerbate style mating attack. Alright, Jim. Interesting. Bullet Blitz. We'll call it Bullet Blitz. I've got a game with Mule Skinner and a game from Sumahair. We'll do Mule Skinner first. Yeah. You play the Aldisto attack. Danish chess player living in Spain. Alright, Mule Skinner, where is game? Game for Thursday analysis, 90 plus 30. So this is the official FIDE time control. Uh-oh. How am I going to know what game it is? There was bishop f4, queen f4, queen h5. Oh shit. Move 11 points out that variation. Bishop e5, bishop h5, bishop f4 check. Queen f4, queen h5. So what's happening there? I go 95, you take a piece. I go bishop h5, you check. I take a piece, now you take another piece, so I'm a piece down. In that position, I'm a piece down. I don't know if it's mate, if there's a mate or not. Alright. But, okay, there's only 2 games. So what did he say? What did Mule Skinner say, black or white? I forgot. In one ear and out the other. I'm white. Okay, sorry. He's white. Yeah, no, move 11 is a tactical buzzsaw. Mule Skinner white versus Manuel. Okay, Manuel is around 1400, so this should be a kill. No chance. There's no chance for 1400s. The 1100s, on the other hand, we've been noticing lately, are quite dangerous. But 1400s is dead against a caliber of Mule Skinner. Though I have noticed that Mule Skinner, like myself, has a tendency to get a little bit in time pressure. Mule Skinner needs to quicken it up. So he plays this. This is annoying. It's like closed Pierce. I had a game I did this against Aldisto the other day. I got so tired of playing the Philidor when he played e4, e5. I'm usually playing like knight f3 and he plays d6. I was like, okay, well, what do you do if you play knight c3 against the Philidor? And I played d6, f4 here. Aldisto didn't take the pawn, but against the Pierce, it's slightly different. I used to play the Pierce more. Lately, I haven't played it much on the stream. It's interesting. I kind of forgot about playing the Pierce. One of my first openings, by the way, I played it up until my Boylston Chess Club days. Uber driver. If you had any games with me in the early 90s, I was still playing the Pierce. I remember playing it against Timur Feinstein, against Larry Schmidt, between like 1991 and 1993, 92. I was probably still playing the Pierce sometimes, not always, but I would toss it out there. I haven't been playing it lately though. It's funny, like it seems like it's totally normal to play like the closed Sicilian against the Sicilian, but it seems weird to play the closed Sicilian against the Pierce. But Mule Skinner has done this against me. So bishop c4. Basically the Pierce Bodler. So the critical, question I've tried to teach Acerbate oftentimes, is like when and if it's okay to do knight takes e4. This is obviously very, very important. g6, and now, well, it's possible to play either, knight f3 or d4. You would think that Mule Skinner would kick into Grand Prix attack territory here. Seriously, I wonder why Mule Skinner doesn't play like f4. You play the Grand Prix attack. If he plays c5, he transposes. Probably Muleskinner has done that. Been there. So here he decides to transpose back into... Well, this is a theoretical variation, right? Bishop c4. And now black played c6, so this is interesting. You've got a 1400 who knows what he's doing. The John Nunn. Normally bishop g7 first. And now if queen e2, black plays c6, right? But this is like, I had this against somebody. Was it Mickey? Is Mickey still here? I did have a game on stream against someone where we had an Aliakin style position like this, where I was black. I remember getting into this, not being sure what I was doing. But this is interesting. So the 1400 plays c6 right away. So that's like a kind of secret move. Potentially disarming queen e2. What's the point, really, with the early c6? Someone, I don't remember who it was, played this against me. You'll donate however many moves it took them to castle, okay? So now if bishop g7, we transpose. e5. The Aliakin, like... Aliakin and Pirtz are strangely related. I find that weird, you know. Kind of weird. So c6 is interesting. Now you play knight f3. But maybe bishop b3 is worth considering. Probably slow. I guess objectively queen e2 is best. So what happens if b5? You know, you never know if like some crazy move like e5 is possible. Just saying. It's unclear. So what's the point of this whole move order, really, with this early c6? Queen f3 is possible. Johnny Hector, that's reliable. So bb3 is the main move. Not very impressive results, I must say, for white. Alright, well let's see what Muleskinner does. Knight f3. So now, if knight takes e4, black has like no development. Do we do this, this, and this? Can we do something like this, and this, and there's an actual game here? Wow. That's weird. And white can always just like chicken out and do like bishop there. Or do we do bishop takes f7? And like, when is this good? I find this very hard to decide. Like, when is this type of sacrifice actually good? It is a sacrifice, essentially. The minor exchange. So in this instance, like, the computer thinks that white is clearly better. Black has no development. I still don't see exactly how white is like killing black here. It's not that obvious. But usually like you have to wait a little bit before you can do knight takes e4 to be on the safer side. That's a really risky move. Wow. Elves played this with black against the young Ramirez. Jan was a great player. I mean, he was in like Skellefteå and the World Cup in 1988, along with Ruth Ribley. I don't know what Elvis is doing these days, but I mean, he was like a world class player, top 20, maybe even higher. And Wojciech had huge respect for him. But now he's just like a run of the mill grandmaster. It's kind of a letdown to be like in the World Cup, with the top 15 players in the world in 1988, and now he's just another grandmaster. B5. Yeah, it's interesting. So he goes after him. And there's only one game here. Wild. But Alejandro's like response, I mean, obviously this makes sense, right? But your e4 pawn is hanging. So that's the question, like what happens after this? And Ramirez was just a young player in 2003. Well, he could have played a4. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, obviously you could play a4 here. But I like queen e2 better. I mean, I think objectively, like, sorry. This seems... You know, in light of c6, I mean, there's no knight c6, no knight takes d4. The queen is safe here. And you secure the e4 pawn. I think that seems like the best. So Muleskinner plays knight f3, b5, but this is artificial now. Now our bishop's not on that great of a square. We have no potential here. He's driven us off this diagonal. It seems like that's a triumph for black. Now there's no reason to play b4. Black just gets like carried away. I mean, you did the job. Like, you got the bishop off this diagonal. It seems like this is going too far. If you're winning the pawn in e4, I mean, I don't know what Ramirez did. Like here, let's see what happened. A white did e5, right? So takes on f6, c takes b2, bishop takes b2. That's a weird position. And Jan just played queen a5 check, knight d2, and then bishop a6. See lies. d5, bishop h6, bookends. F takes e7. Wow, this is crazy. Oh my god. Rook g8. So Elvis is on another level. c3, c takes d5, queen f3, knight d7. Talk about castling, Uber driver. Knight c4, bishop takes c4. The game ended in a draw. Wow. Interesting. That was a crazy game. So Muleskinner plays it safe with bishop d3. But I would say like it feels like black is black sort of gained time. This looks like a mistake. I don't like b4. He achieved what he set out to achieve. Does he need to play b4? The problem, I guess, is e5. Maybe he does. How dangerous is e5? Like, let's say we just play a normal developing move. e5. Is this really a problem? It just doesn't seem that great with the bishop on d3. If takes, pawn takes, the pawn on e5 feels a little overextended. I'm not convinced by this. Bishop g4 is also possible. So, I don't like b4. Alright, knight e2. Now bishop g7. And now bishop d2. Yeah, bishop on b3 is much better in this type of situation. I mean, this piece is... The only advantage is it doesn't allow black to do the Elvis, like, cut you off theme. This is kind of solid, but I don't know. This bishop's not very exciting. Here. He's playing queenside. Very positional. And now black just like drops a pawn. He's sacrificed. The word is, yeah, he's in the square. That's a lot of material in a very small area. Let's see. In the 3x3 box, he has 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 points, 22 points. He has 22 points of material in a 3x3 box. That's not optimal, right? Black's better spaced, but it looks like he's just ignoring the threat. I mean, how do you just ignore this threat? Oh, that's not important. Did I need that? So black just like randomly like loses his B pawn. Right, they're like Russian soldiers. Yeah, I wanted to switch my flag to Ukraine on lichess as a political statement. Bishop G4. Yeah, I mean, C5 looks... Maybe it's the best. It doesn't work. We're just taking here. No, we got a problem on the A file. I told you guys I didn't like B4. But it's nice the way that he took advantage of it. I guess black has to take. You know, this is the only try. Objectively, he has to just give it up. So it's like playing the Polish or the St. George. Obviously, this is nothing special. So rook takes, and white has a pretty nasty pressure on the A pawn. Don't like it. So he just like loses a pawn, and this is not so bad. I mean, look at that center, and the white king is totally safe. Greedy. No, it's another free pawn. What a center. Look at that. How are you going to attack my king there? Speaking of a house, that's like, he's got missile launchers, grenades, infantry. He's ready for the invasion. B takes A5, E5. Well, now white played B4. I don't know about B4. I would just play it safe with like C3 here. This allows him to take this pawn out. Gives him a little bit of play on the dark squares. Wow. We don't want to get overconfident now. I am serious. I am playing C3 here. F4 looks rather risky. Yeah, C3 is number one. So is Muleskinner getting overconfident against the 1400? I mean, that weakens our E4 pawn. I mean, what are we doing here? You know, are you trying to attack him? You're like up 2 pawns. Your up 2 pawns just consolidate and win the game. I feel like this is recklessly aggressive. There's really no reason to do that. I mean, you could get in trouble on the dark squares very easily here if black starts to infiltrate with all of his pieces on the dark squares. I see no reason for white to do this. C3 is the first move. Like, you overprotect that center. And we'll, like, step by step, try to improve our position little by little. No, eventually the outside pawn should win the game. But this looks really dangerous. Knight H5. F takes E, D takes E. Now, he shuts him down, but I mean, obviously there's like take, and E4. I feel like the position is a little out of control, and that really shouldn't have happened. So CD5, yeah, speaking of out of control, now Muleskinner plays B5. You might want to try craps at the casino, or a little bit of roulette after this game. Let's just roll the dice and see what's happening. No, I mean, white let black have a lot of weird craziness here. I mean, probably white's still winning, but it feels like unnecessary complications. Knight C5, Bishop B4, Rook C8, okay. Maybe black's gone astray already. No, black has to go. Like, there's no half measures here. You know, you got to go for it here, right? You got to play F5. I mean, black can't screw around. You got to do this. We got two connected passers coming down. This is the only move. I mean, you got to play f5 here. You just try to blast your way through the center and pray that something sticks. Because if pawn takes pawn, we have e4, right? I don't even know if I want to take this rook on a1, to be honest. But at least black might get something going on, you know, around the white king with knight e5. Like, seriously, this position. White's probably winning. Wow, look at that. Slaggy's right. f5, baby. Oh, wow, knight f4 is playable too. No, but this is the big move, f5. Computer doesn't mind knight c5. Wow. I really thought this is slow. Here. Oh, you can take? Can we take? Takes. 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 Queen takes queen. I don't like that. That's not good. I mean, those two pawns look very, very scary. The one thing white, you know, black doesn't want is to trade queens here. That is not on the menu. No trading queens with two connected pass pawns on the 5th. Whatever black does, we can't trade queens. So I don't know about this. This doesn't feel right. I mean, those pawns look like they're just coming through too fast. Now he did f5. So I don't know, Jim. This is a 1400. This guy's got some game. Although he's kind of wildly reckless. Black has game for a 1400. It may be too late. I sense I would have played f5, the move earlier. Bishop takes, rook takes, go. Go, go, gadget arms. Go fast, please. Can I get that pawn through? How about the white squares? Rook there. And now queen b1. Yeah, I was going to say, that diagonal looks kind of important. But man, it's getting out of control now. It looks like Muleskin are sacking a piece. F takes c4, bishop takes c4. Pawn takes e4. He doesn't take. Damn, dude. The 1400. The 1400's dropping a piece, though. You gotta take, right? This is falling with check. Man, he's gotta take. What's the problem? b6? Check in b6? Chuck E. Cheese. Gotta go for this, right? Check. King h8. And then, you know, whatever. We'll roll the dice. But f2 looks kind of scary. Does black have any play here? Damn, he's winning according to the engine. Holy shit. It's not clear. Wow. e3. It's wild, man. I don't know what is going on. Did Muleskinner have to sack a piece? By the way? Here, a6. There, okay. You don't have to sack a piece here, do you? Can't you, like, take or something? Maybe he just, like, you know, panicked. I mean, seriously. How bad is this? This is hanging. And, like, c4 traps us. I mean, e4. Phew, dude. That's a scary 1400. Muleskinner, like, got tricked, thinking it was going to be an easy game. After f5, things are really scary. Wow. Maybe this is a mistake, though. Like, exchanging on c5. I don't know. I also want to get the pieces off the board. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, he's slow now. Here. Queen b1. Was queen b1 too slow? We don't have b6. fe4. Bishop e4. Queen h4. Now bishop takes d5 check. What the heck? Now we have rook f1. He castled here? Are you serious? There's no way I'm castling. Uber driver said no castling. That's 25 big ones you owe me, Uber driver. Wasn't that the deal? $25 for every move it took white to castle. Why would you castle instead of just playing rook f1? I don't understand. 25 gift subs. Can we just play rook f1? Do I have to put my king on g1? It looks like you're like trying to self-mate yourself. This looks kind of hard to attack, the white king. Does he have like rook f2? I mean, this is fantasy, right? Queen. Damn, that's scary. Now you have bishop f3. Bishop f3, rook f3, a8, check. Oh my god. So is that the point? Like, castling is not about asserting dominance? I mean, is rook f2 really a move here? It's not enough. Yeah, rook f2, bishop f3, the variation wins. It's good enough. I'm not castling, man. Castling's just being fancy. I think Mule Skinner realized he has the bishop back. You know, so there's nothing like... He's got knight g3 and he has bishop back. I still feel safer with my king there. Queen. So what about like queen g4 check? That's what happened. And now what about this? Like there are potential mates around here. But the main problem, I guess, is like bishop takes e4. It's a mate though. There's a mate with like queen h3, knight f4, knight e2. No, that's guarded as well. It looks like it's too late. Yeah, everything's guarded. This is guarded. Well, h3 is not guarded, but it doesn't matter. There's no mates. Knight e2 check. What's up with knight e2 check? He has king g2, knight g3, f3. They probably calculated this. Black's just lost. So that's a key line. He tried h5, but it's too late. Oh, knight f4 instead of what? Where? Knight f4 instead of what? Oh, here instead of that? Or what? Like knight f4? I don't think there's anything here. I think white's like winning. Bishop takes e4. Is there anything here? No. Yeah, white's winning now. Yeah, that was a crazy game, man. 1400. Mule Skinner's around 1800, but he can play very, very well. I think if he practiced more, he could be like 2000 easily. Knight h5, b6, queen d8, b7 here. Yeah, good game. That was a fun game. All right, last game. I got to go, guys. Last game. We did Mule Skinner. So our last game is the big reveal. Mickey. Not Mickey. Sumeher. Lichess classes. Practice. Coordinates. Study. Study. Mocking with Esserman. 101. Alright. Studies I contribute to. Dating. From the perspective of a chess player, dating advice. What kind of classes do they offer here? Okay, so last game. Sumher versus Bogovadya. D4. Oh no, Astrobate, I forgot your game? Buddy, how did I let that happen? Yeah, we did your game. What are you talking about? Of course we did your game. Where were you? Astrobate, where were you when we did your game? In the beginning. In order. Did you go to sleep or something? Sumher playing the H3, Makaganov. I thought you were here. You were here at the beginning of the stream. We did the game like second. I can't believe you missed it. You were cleaning the sauna. So, okay. Mainline, Makaganov. 400 for castling. Thanks, Uber driver. You're saying we should castle by move 4. Move 25, castling. Yeah, that was a shaky performance. I don't like to go into totally unclear positions against opponents who are like 400 to 500 rating points lower than me. You need to beat them with technique. Man, Mule Skinner was like asking for trouble in that game. So this is like a mainline variation. Knight A6. Who did I look at this with? Coach I can't remember. Somebody I looked at this with. Now White played it. He played it like it was a. This looks like he's playing the Averbach variation with F3. I guess Bishop E2 is more of an Averbach variation. Anatoly Karpov. In the Averbach, you do like Bishop E2, Queen D2, Bishop D1. You know, it could like transpose actually. So what's the normal plan here? Knight F3, right? This I would say is main line. We're playing Knight F3. We play like a Petrosian system. Knight D2. And the knight has availability to G5. I think I like that, but it looks like this specific position allows for knight E2, knight G3. See, like, I got really scared of this opening when I was preparing. We did find some variation that was okay for black, though. There was a key move. Knight D7. Was it here? Knight G3. Knight DC5. You know who knows how to play this with black? Gawain Jones. If you really are serious about learning the black side of the King's Indian, Jones has a good... He had a good masterclass or whatever on that. I know that there's some variation where the knight goes to B6. You're thinking of the dragon, Uber driver. But I'm not sure. When that knight B6 move comes in, it must not be in this type of line. So let's see, what does white do here? F3 is kind of a weird move. It's probably not that bad. I think now, Uber, maybe H5 is more likely to be a thing for black because of F3. No Bishop E2. Yeah, so Knight C5. I had a game where I played like against this weak FM. The guy's like 2,100 a couple of years ago, and he was white, and I did like King H8, and I thought I was being smart, but I got an awful position. I had to offer a draw. Like right out of the opening, I hated my game. I was trying to do like King H8, Knight G8 like Kasparov or something. I just had an awful position. I mean, I was like terrified he would decline my draw offer. That was the last. I lost the last 2 times I played against the system. I lost against Galiash too, who surprised me. You really got to know what you're doing with black. Okay, so here's Blue Bomb versus Jones. There is a game from 2021. Wow, actually knight c5. So this knight is not moving. That's weird. Knight on gde2 and c6. Damn, dude. These guys are playing blitz, and they're in book. What's the time control? 5 + 3, and they're still in book here. But we left the Jones game. The Jones' opponent didn't play German Grandmaster. He didn't play knight on gde2. He probably played queen d2. This is Blue Bomb Jones, Demchenko, Kovalev, a bunch of people. So black's only counterplay is like c6, knight e8, super passive. It's awful. So c6, only chance for counterplay. Man, this is not an easy line to play for black. It made me not want to play the King's Indian anymore, honestly. Yeah, f3 is interesting. Knight d7 seems best. I mean, you're threatening bishop h6 there. That's an old trick. Bishop h6, queen h4 check. So white has to play h4 to stop that. And Ricky Schroeder has a game from 2020. Someone played bishop f6. Shredayevich. This is a newer game too. Yeah, that's always fun. Are we having fun yet? We have to crawl our bishop like out through d8 to b6 later on. I've had games like that, man. You're not having fun here for black. Yeah, so this is unpleasant. Knight c5, knight e2, c6, knight g3, and then cd5. Okay, so this looks kind of standard. Bishop d7. This doesn't look right. Although you do sometimes play queen b6, rook c8, and then transfer the queen back. I would prefer to play bishop d7. You know, the interesting thing is that black doesn't have any counterplay against the e4 pawn because of this f3. Here, queen d2. Here, a4. Now, I like this better. I think black should get developed. But I guess he didn't want white to play a4, but he can't. I don't know. I don't see the rush to play a4. He just wanted to do a3. Interesting. Maybe maybe Sumaher should play rook b1 here, and you can meet a3 with b4. But even so, yeah, this looks right. King f2 at some point, yeah, is a good plan, or maybe even king f1, depending on what happens. I think this rook b1 is interesting. So we don't have to rush with h4. After a4, rook b1. And he can't play a3. So what does black have to do? Just like hold. Like bishop d7. Like you're saying, like maybe king f2. King f2, there could be some crazy stuff, but like this seems crazy, but like bishop h6. Once I had a game with Bisgeier where I did that, I had some insane like bishop h6 move I was able to play. I don't know if that works though. Just saying, like it might be possible. Really want to find that game one day. h4, a3. So this seems like, okay, b4 is kind of annoying. Yep. Nice to see you, LVN. Thanks for stopping by. Long time no see. And black got a little bit of headway on the queen side. It's funny that he's like it's against his religion to play bishop d7 for some reason. Black absolutely refuses to play bishop d7. So he plays b5 right away, but I don't understand how that works. It's just like losing a pawn. Black just like threw away his whole position. Why is he playing that? The problem is, like, even bishop d7, you still can't play b5, because after knight b5, you know, your queen's just hanging. He needs to play like bishop e7 and rook b8, and it takes a while to do that. This is crazy. Like, what is black getting for this? Like, what about like king takes? Do you have a sack on g4 or something? You're gonna like do this? I mean, I find it a little hard to believe. You know, probably that's just a fantasy. I mean, without the queens on the board, you know, we're not happy here. Yeah, black just went nuts. I mean, he's got no compensation for this pawn sacrifice. Yeah, now he's just lost. I don't like this though. I don't want to trade my bishop pair off with white. I think you should just play like king e2, and if your bishop gets attacked, you could move it, or maybe like rook c1 or something. I don't want to give up the dark squared bishop here for white like he did in the game. Here. This, you know, maybe you're still winning, but if he sets up like a dark square blockade, it could be hard to break through. There's a risk he's running here of black really setting up defensive blockade. Not crazy about that. Maybe white's still winning. Mule Skinner, thanks for subscribing. But, you know, it's harder here. And now you got to really be careful of bad bishop. Man, black kind of powered his way back into this. White is having a hard time. He's up 2 pawns, but both of them are like immobilized. And now it's over. Okay. So that was a blunder. Yeah, I mean, if black was just down 1 pawn, but this 2 pawns is too much. It's just too much. Yeah, as usual. Now it's over. You might want to consider f4. Actually, it looks like just attacking d4 with a rook was better. This is winning, though. You might want to even think about that. So now we're up 2 pawns. You should play bishop e2, probably. Still, like, the 2 pawns are, like, blockaded. White's playing for mate. Sneaky. Oops. Alright, good games. So that's a forced mate. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Mule Skinner, thanks for the last minute sub. We went over your games just a few minutes ago. I thought it was interesting. You let it get way out of control. So Sumaher, nice upset victory there. Yeah, he knows what he's doing on the white side of the line. That's a pretty good line for white. If you want something good against the King's Indian, I think the h3 variation is one of the best. Why did black castle? Exactly. Alright, Move 11, and everybody, thanks for joining me. We'll be back tomorrow with some Blitz. On behalf of Ponda and myself, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Again, Friday morning, 11 a.m. Blitz challenges here, open challenges against whoever we can find and dig up. Thanks, guys. Thanks, WJ Loof, for staying with me. Good luck with the Falk beer. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, as always. Thanks, everybody, for the support.